Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now? Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now? attention grid. Will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Hello everybody and welcome to the RF2 Asia Endurance Series. We've got the 2.4 hours of Silverstone to start us off here. Obviously using the Enduro Races mod, so we've got the GTs along with the P2s. And it should be a fascinating little race we'll go ahead of us. Silverstone always generally produces awesome racing, although I suspect we may have another restart, I'm guessing, here, because it looks like we've got a GT that's apparently in 5th, which seems very wrong to me, but whatever is the way, I guess. But 26 cars here for this first round, and it should be really quite fascinating. I'm just wondering if we may end up having a restart again here, because we've got a GT that looks a bit out of position now. I'm pretty sure a BMW wouldn't be as fast as a prototype, the GT BMW I'm talking about. But anyway, we'll keep going as we do. But I'm not going to be alone for this one. I've got myself, obviously Thomas Hinss leading it through, and alongside me for this one is Joshua Anderson. Hello, Josh.
Hello, great to be alongside you, Tom, for this fantastic looking endurance race. 2.4 hours of Silverstone, of course, and well, what's not to like about that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's as we said, should be fascinating to see how these guys go. Obviously, Enduro's mod probably one of the best picks in terms of endurance racing for RF2 at the moment, outside of URD. Probably the best freeware one to pick at the moment. Obviously, they had a update to the mod, I believe, a while back. They did update some of the physics for the P2s because I know initially they were a little bit wonky. I'm not sure if they've actually got it sort of working as they completely want to, but I think they are a little better from what I've seen and what I've heard. I haven't really had a chance to drive them too much since the update because the one series I do, which does the Enduro Races P2s, hasn't had the next round yet, so can't tell you for sure whether it's they're any better or not to drive in their new form. But they certainly are a lot of fun, I think. Anyway, even if they are potentially got little wonky bits going on here and there, at least before the update, I still found them fun. But it may have been because they seem to suit my driving style, so I could be a wee bit biased because I seem to do well on them. So something to keep in mind. But they are good fun, the old Enduro mods, and obviously the GTs gives you a great array of the GTs as well, the BMWs, the Ferrari, the Aston, Corvettes, and I think I missed one of them. I'm just trying to remember which one it is. But yeah, it gives you a very good array of recent GTs. A couple of them maybe a little bit older, like the BMW and the Ferrari are a little bit older now, but to be honest, it's probably my favourite. I don't know about you, Josh, but that's probably my favourite of the Jurassic GTs.
Oh, the Aston Martin is pretty good. Like I'm quite partial to the Porsche myself. I really like it. It's just well, it's not a Porsche. It's a flat six, but it's the same thing, really. I just like there's just everything about it. It's lovely. It just really suits my driving style, and oof, I would just love it.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. I usually with the flat sixes, I tend to do all right in the mod. I did all right in the Enduro Races flat six mod, and that's again probably why I quite enjoyed that car because I actually did all right in it. But we look like we are going to be going to the green flag on this attempt again. It's a bit interesting because we have a BMW in the middle of the P2 field, so I'm not sure if the admins have seen that and have gone, he's just going to have to deal with it, or what's going on there, but it's all good. Add a bit more of a spice. Why not? Let's just add a bit more spice to it, because, you know, it may as well. But I'm sure it'll be all right. All the P2s I'm sure they'll behave and they'll get around him, and you know, it'll all work out in the end. But they're all coming down the hangar straight now. I've never really understood the weave. I've said this before quite a few times to some people, but I've never really understood the weaving of cars at all, really, in almost any sim. Because I don't think any of them, even in RF2, which we know how sensitive tyre pressures, tyre temps are, the weaving doesn't really do too much. It doesn't really warm up the tyres like it sort of looks like it does. But hey, I guess it does. You look like you're doing the part. Maybe it does give you that extra, 10 degrees, which can be everything, especially in some classes, like Miller's, for example. But either way, we're about to be ready to go in green here. The leaders coming through the final few corners. It's going to be Arwen Taruna leading them away. And he's in control of the field at the moment. All the skins look like they're pretty much all loaded up for me, which is fantastic to see. He's going to lead them through the field. We'll come around the final corner now, getting ready for the go signal. And they are away, and we're off for the 2.4 hours of Silverstone. Owen leads them into turn 1 there, and it looks like he should pretty easily. Oh boy, there's a bollard there getting absolutely blown away in the first corner there. But either way, it looks like it's a clean start for the prototypes. Do apologise, by the way. I think that BMW is actually a P2 potentially, but it looks like a Beamer to me. I can't quite tell. We'll confirm for you on that in a later date. But the GTs look like they have gotten through cleanly as well. Not as many skins, unfortunately. It's a lot of prototype skins, not too many GT skins, but looks of it, which is a little bit of a shame, unless they aren't loading for me, which is also possible. But whatever the case, looks like most of the field has gotten through okay. I say that, and then Calvin Wong has spun it in the P2. It's the Hong Kong Sim Racing entry. He's gone round there at the double left-hander. He's rejoined, by the looks of it, safely. I think we've got another... Oh, I think that may actually be contact, might be why that's happened. Let me have a look here. No? Oh, no, okay. One of the other P2s just was a bit further back. All right, so that's Stephen Caddy, and also we have Harley Hamnet here for Hawkeye Racing, another face we haven't seen for quite some time. Good to see Harley back in the fray with Hawkeye for this one. And he's down in pair at the moment, so he's going to have some work to do. Battling for P7 Chris Osley at the moment. Oops, see a prototype up front going off. That was David Truba. But Owen Taruna leading away quite nicely on this first lap, and I think, yeah, that P5 is a P2, isn't it, Josh? I assume it must just be my end. It looks like a BMW. That is odd. Anyway,
yeah, it must just be you. Must just be you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Well, apologies, everyone. I thought that at my end, that prototype is literally a BMW GT. It is quite astonishing to see this GT doing P2 pace. So apologies there. I kept seeing this GT thing. What's going on? But apparently, it must be some glitch at my end. So there you go. But anyway, he's in P5. I have to make a mental note to not forget that he's actually a P2 in disguise at my end. But all pretty clean so far. I think we had a couple of offs in the prototype field, nothing too drastic. We've got a little bit of battling further back in the GTs as well. As I said, it's some good skins. Certainly in the prototype field, it's great to see a lot of the prototype field has got some skins going, made some really cool liveries. Unless, as I said, the skins may not have loaded for me properly. There seems to be a few glitches of mine with some of the things here, so there might be some skins in the GTs I'm probably missing. But for the ones I can see, they look very nice. I think once again, Hawkeye have to probably have one of the better skins here again. They've been doing some really awesome liveries. Hawkeye have, as Hamnet has got around Chris Osley. It's for P7. He'll be chasing down, I believe, who is that? Devan Nugra is the next one for him, and then it's the BMW in disguise next up. I'm gonna forever call that car the BMW in disguise now. So there you go. It's the new little catchphrase for me throughout this broadcast. But yeah, looking pretty good so far. Josh, been nice and clean. A couple of little, I think it was one spin I saw, and that was it. And otherwise, it's been nice and clean.
Has been a nice and clean start. Yeah, it's been lovely, and looks by the looks of it that Eduardo Del Rinchon has had a really good start, going up from 5th to 3rd, and he's had a fantastic start there. So keep an eye on him this race, perhaps.
Yeah, for sure. As Owen Taruna continues to lead them away, David Truba is next up, and then we've got Del Rincon in 3rd, Edmund Wong in 4th. Oh, the disguised BMW is having a battle here for P5. Truly is odd seeing a BMW battling with P2s. It's going to put me off the entire time. But anyway, he's defending up the inside now. And I think we'll go around the outside. Oh, nearly spun there, did Eric. And he catches it, but he loses 5th. So he drops to 6th. He'll have Harley Hamnet chasing on his heels very soon. Behind them, Mosley's coming to the pump from Calvin Wong. Calvin Wong up the inside. He's recovering as well. Oh, no, they've come together. There goes Chris Osley and Calvin Wong. They've just had a little bit of contact there. Oh, no. And then Stephen Bocad has somehow managed to... Hang on, what's happened here? I need to see this back. Let me have a look. He's tried to go round... Huh, okay. So, yeah, there you go. So, it's a bit of a shame for Stephen, but he happened to make contact there with Chris Osley. He's now lost his front end. A little bit of an interesting one there, because Chris was not moving at all. He was completely still, and Stephen obviously maybe wasn't quite aware of what was going on ahead of him or something, but he's managed to make a bit of contact with him, and that's now got a bit of a half P2, really, for Chris, and the old floating lights there at the front end. But either way, they're all going again. Looks like, I assume, without major damage. We'll soon find out how bad it is for Chris. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty bad from that contact, so he'll probably have to bid for repairs. Big shame there. I'll have to see if I can figure out, find in the view button. I'll see if I can see if Stephen's steering's bent as well. It should be. He hit him pretty hard. It must have been a big hit to dislodge a friend with the other P2. Let me have a look here down the straight. Hard to tell whether he is having a crabbing car. Can't really tell, to be honest. Let me have a look here. No, his steering looks pretty straight, so I guess he got very lucky. whereas Chris maybe not. So bit of an interesting moment there in the P2s, but they've all sorted themselves out. Really, the battling seems to be in the GT field, if anything. Which interesting to see more GTs than prototypes, because usually I swear it's the other way around. it's more prototypes than GTs. So obviously some fans of the GTs here in RF2 Asia, which is great to see. And I think there's a good battle at the moment, actually, for the lead in GT. Look at that, it's a 4-way fight, actually 5-way nearly for the lead in GT, so some really good stuff there.
Yeah, really fantastic stuff so far. Brilliant battling up and down the field in both classes. Tarun already starting to run away with this lead in the P2 class at the front of it, though. Well, the cars behind, they're going to have to start thinking, well, we're going to catch this guy, otherwise we're going to have serious problems. But Tarun are really the dominant force in the opening 5 minutes of this race.
Definitely, yeah. He's showing his dominance here today, and we'll see if he can hold it. I'd say it'd be hard to catch him because he's a pretty handy driver, Alan. So he'll be cruising along there doing some nice laps, but obviously plenty of time for things to change, as these endurance sort of races tend to be the case. But a good battle further back between, for third in GT, is Chris Osley has made in the pits. It's Jared Vanderwade and Yong Ji Wong having a nice little battle there, and Andros Alvarez is not far behind them either. It's about P3 in GT. That Tafer liveried Corvette. Good to see Tafer on the grid as well. Let's see Quinton's team on the grid arena for this race is, oh no, and there's contact. I was just, oh geez, Jared might hold it. Oh, I nearly did. Oh, and he's got further contact with the BMW. He almost held that too. If he hadn't have hit the sausage curb, he would have actually held that one, I reckon. Would have done a bit of drift going in a Corvette. He was holding it, and then the sausage curb got him in there. That's a big hit as well from the Beamer. I'm not quite sure what the go is there. That's, oh yeah, that's a case of you've got to be prepared for where someone else is braking. I mean, yeah, it's all the Beamer, unfortunately. You've got to be aware that some are going to brake earlier than you are. It's just the way it is. So, a bit of a shame there. It's one of those things, I guess, but obviously just needs to be a bit more cautious buying other cars, because I know it's easy to do that, but you've got to be prepared for when you're following a car, he may not brake at the same point you do. So it's something easy to forget, but something that's a bit key, especially in these sort of races. So either way, though, Jared, I believe, is still going. Let me have a look here, but he's dropped well down the field. He's actually down to about, about 4th last in class. I can't tell you exactly what position that is in class, but I reckon it's about 11th, 12th in class, so he's got some work to do, and I reckon he's got damage. Yeah, he's letting others through, so that Corvette's going to have to limp it around the pits. That's a real shame for them, because they were battling for a podium in class, and now they've got to limp it rounds and get repairs. But long race, so plenty of time for him to come back through.
Yeah, plenty of time to come back through. The incident between those two, it just looked like Young Jivong just missed his braking point almost, and went into the back of the Tafer car, and that's what caused that. But it's easy enough to do, and well, you just, as you say, you just got to be prepared for where a car's going to brake, and that was an unfortunate incident. But hopefully we can see, the Tafer car come back up for the order.
Yeah, for sure. As I'm looking at Jalou and Faustino battling for what is now P4 in class in the GTs. Andros Alvarez behind him again. He's behind nearly every battle I'm seeing here. But these two battling away for P4. Aston versus Porsche with a BMW right up behind them. And I think probably a good battle to keep an eye on that. Aston, pretty nice livery as well. Credit to them on that, as the Porsche's going to try him on the outside here. Be a good move if he can do it. Plenty of grip on the track though. Oh no, Porsche's going to go way too deep, and if anything, he might drop a spot to Alvarez here. I think he might just hold, actually. Yeah, well, credit to the Porsche, they're managing to hold, and he actually didn't lose that much time to the Aston. So really a win-win for Paul there, considering how that was looking for a moment. But Chris Osley's still in the pits, by the way, and that's going to be a long repair if he lost the front end. So big shame for him, as Alvarez has a look on the Porsche again, but not going to make the move stick. Further back, some more battling going on. Usually in the GT fields, if you watch a lot of endurance racing, I'm sure you know that in the GTs, it's generally very close battling a lot of the time. Obviously with the way the cars are, and they're usually maybe a little bit slower than the P2s, and a bit closer in performance a lot of the time, they can produce some fantastic racing, whereas P2s can get a little bit, or prototype classes can get a little bit spread out, and that's sort of the case at the moment. As we said, Owen Taruna is galloping away at the moment with a very handsome lead of 3.5 seconds at the moment at last count. The closest battle really in class is 8th and 9th. That's for the P2s, Bacade and Wong. That's really closest battle, but I think this battle for P4 is probably the one to watch. The battle for P17 overall, that's another Aston versus Porsche affair. It's Mark Robinson and Putra having a nice little ding-dong, and then they've got Amse Din ahead of them as well. And actually, the Aston Robertson's got a lovely run for a potential pass here. Looking ahead as well, the battle for P4's heating up a bit too. Jalou having to defend from Faustino. I think Faustino's might just about make it potentially. He's going to try on the outside. Oh, geez, that was very close. The Aston they came across on the Porsche there, further back. They're 3 wide, and I think, you know, the Beamer might just hold. They're almost putting each other into the dirt there. Robinson having to hold station, and again, behind these two is another BMW not far behind. So some very close battling in GTs so far, and I think that's probably what we're going to be watching a lot, as I'm already seeing the P2's already doing, or have caught the back end of the GT field, so there's already some lapping going on, which shows how quick these P2s are. Oh no, Harley Hamlet spun in 6th overall, so big shame for him. Oh gee, that's a, oh boy, I need to look back at that in the replay. Let me just look at that. So he's gone round. Oh gee, wow. That's interesting rejoin as well. I'll say from Harley there. He very nearly could have had a huge crash there. He's very lucky that the other P2s coming at him were aware of what was going on, because that could have been very, very bad right there. But they got away with it there. So Harley still going, but down to P9 overall in class, and obviously in the overall standings. So yeah, getting a few little intense moments so far, Josh. A few moments I'm still holding my breath here.
Yeah, I mean, when they race this short for an endurance race, obviously, 2.4 hours, it's not the longest potential endurance race distance. You can have 6 hours, you can have 12 hours. But, this is almost like a sprint race for these guys. These are going to be pretty much flat out racing for 2.4 hours. Of course, there's going to be errors and mistakes. But, for the most part, this is just exactly, the sort of high intensity action we should expect.
Yeah, indeed. No, I'm just looking back at the rejoins from Stephen's perspective. Got to give credit to Stephen. He reacted very well there. That was quite a situation to be in, but he reacted very well and managed to avoid what could have been an absolute T-boning there of the Hawkeye car. But anyway, that's managed to get through it okay, and now Harley's coming back through on Stephen. So yeah, just interesting things. It is always difficult to rejoin that scenario though, but I guess it's just, again, it's one of those things, you have to just be aware of what's coming and that kind of thing. That's where the good old inbuilt relative timing that RF2 has is very, very handy for seeing where others are. And actually reminds me, relative time, which is a mod of course for RF2, that's fantastic for seeing relative time, because it shows you even more it shows you all the cars around you on track, because of course the native RF2 stuff only shows you the positions around you. So there's any lap cars that won't tell you where they are, whereas the relative time does, and that's such a handy HUD. I just hope that one day it'll get updated to DX11. One day it will, I'm sure. But Harley Hamlet back up to P8 now. I'll be chasing down Caleb Wong next. Then we've got the BMW in disguise and Eric there in P6. And as we said, all the P2 starting to carve the way through the GT traffic. Battle for P19 looking very nice. Got JK and Robertson. JK just getting through on Robertson. That's for P19. And I think, again, that battle for P14 overall might be the one to go for. That's P5. Yes, P5 in class between the Aston and the BMW. Jalou and, Alvarez, the one probably to watch. The battle for P2 is quite nice. The top 3 have all been trading times, essentially. G. Wong, Rodriguez, and Clapano in the MSI Beamer. Very good to see the mixture of class as well. The Aston, we've got an Aston mod in P5 overall. We've got a BMW leading, a Porsche second, BMW third, and there's a lot of different. Well, good to see the variety of classes mixed in well in the GT field. It's not being dominated by one maker car so far.
Yeah, thus far, it's good to see that, at least there's, variety going on in the GTs. Well, that's what I love about the Enduro Racers mod in general. There's so much variety going on, and, to see these GTs battling it out with all the different marks and makes is brilliant. And, it's very much variety going on as well. And Tarun now, just watching is getting past lap traffic now as well. So, he's scything through this really nicely, he's Tarun, getting off to a good start, as he needs to do.
Yeah, for sure. Just keeping it clean, nice, consistent pace, which is exactly what he needs to do, and that's what he's doing right now. He's doing just a nice smooth job up front. 3.5 seconds is where he's holding still. True bars essentially keeping him within range, but not really closing too much. Del Rincon is in P3, and the other P2. I believe the teammate to Trubar, so they're sitting second and third there, which is fantastic for them. And I think they're actually lapping their team's BMW entries as well, which is always interesting. We had some inter-team class battles, as I watched Em and Wong there going around the outside of a Beamer and very nearly getting cleaned up, so that was very close indeed. Looks like everyone has managed to generally start getting through the traffic okay. Hamlet's still trying to close back into Kelvin Wong. It's Kelvin Edmund Wong, so there's two of them. I have to bear that in mind when I'm referring to any Wongs in the field. But looks like Tarun is just coming up on the lead GT battle now. He's just passed second in class of the GTs, and now the GT leader. So the GTs are now down the lap, which of course is always going to happen, obviously, being in different classes. So it only took 15 minutes, though. I thought it would probably take a little bit longer than that, but there you go. GT's already down the lap, and already we're getting the inter-class stuff that we always love with endurance racing, when you get the whole inter-class mixture going on. As I saw a GT go around there in the background, I have to try and find who that was. 26 Brett going around there. He got passed by a P2, and okay, and I'm trying to figure out if he that's interesting. And then he got clouted by I think that's the BMW in disguise as well. So some interesting moments going on here with the interclass stuff, but it always is so very difficult to do do this cleanly every time with the cars passing. What's that?
Eric Chacois has had a massive off. He's just rammed straight into the barrier coming out of cups there, and he's out of the race. Yeah, it seemed to me like his brakes failed or something. He just rammed directly into the wall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's... Well, I'm looking at his wheel. I mean, again, because I wasn't watching him, there was a bit of lag involved, but that looks to me like he aimed for the wall. I've got to be honest with you. It looks like he went... His steering movements go through toward the corner apex, and then when he goes off, he just turns into the wall. So that is very strange. I'm not sure what the go is there, but anyway, he's apparently out. So I'm not sure if that was just a lag on my part, but it looked a bit of an old one. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but there we go. So he's out. So that now puts us down to, should be 8 P2s running now in the field, I believe. So we're down to 8 P2s, 25 runners now in this one. But there you go. Well, in a way, it's going to mean now I won't be confused with this random BMW doing P2 pace. So yes, there's that. But yeah, big shame for them to retire this early on. It's a long old race, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. That's a very strange one. That's very odd. But anyway, we'll keep moving on and keep going along. And yeah, as the rest of the field is Tarun right out to 11.9 seconds. Gee, that just shows the difference that traffic management can make. When you do it right, or when you do it well, sorry, I should say, you can just gain so much time on your opponents, and that's something that I've seen. I think it was I didn't actually watch the onboard, but there was I think there was some onboard stuff of. In the RDLMS, the Feeder Ragnar guys, just of them lapping traffic, and just I haven't actually watched it myself, I'll admit, but I've been told that the onboard shows just an amazing masterclass in how to lap cars effectively but well and cleanly as well. So it's certainly not easy, that's for sure. It's it's definitely something that takes time to get used to when you're in a faster car, being where to pass the cars, where to make the moves stick cleanly. But I mean, obviously, as with everything, isn't it? It comes, the more you do it, the better you're at it.
Yeah, it all comes with experience. Anything comes with experience. And, the more you drive these cars, the more people, get used to these LMP2s, the easier they'll be. Even the GTs can be a challenge for people who have never driven them before. And, well, I'm sure Audi Devangura is having better cut problems at the moment. That Lola looks to have no front bumper from where I'm looking. Obviously coming into the pits now, and we'll get that repaired. But, yeah, these P2s, not easy to deal with newcomers. Really have to put some laps in, get used to the nuances, and, learn how these things work before you can really start to succeed in them. I'm sure that Audi's now finding that out the hard way.
Yeah, I'm just looking back to, I found what the incident was. He had contact with a GT. It was a BMW coming back on the track. And, well, I was going to say the BMW came on a... Well, the BMW did kind of bounce over the curb a little bit, probably more than they planned. But I don't know. I he didn't give too much room to the Beamer there. And I mean, if you ever see a GT off like that, the first thing I do anyway is I go as far to the other side of the track as I can, because I don't trust them to come back on, you know, as cleanly as maybe you hope they do. So yeah, possibly a bit of his own doing, I'd say. It looks like he turns in a bit there. I mean, again, there's a little bit of lag involved here because I was watching the time, but yeah, it looks like he sort of just maybe didn't anticipate where and when the BMW would come back on. That led to the contact there, so big shame for Lola, but they are going again with that front end, so rejoin the track. They'll be in P8, but they are obviously about half a lap down, but at least it was a fast repair time, although they might have just taken maybe spotty repairs and not actually repaired the whole car to save some time. Got a nice bell for P3 in Class 2, G Wong and Faustino having a nice battle. It's BMW versus Porsche down the Hangar Straight, and at the moment the Beamer is winning that one, but for how long's the question? Because Pole's looking very quick in that Porsche.
He is looking very quick at the moment, and well, it could be an interesting battle coming up if he catches him, of course, because you know, well, any battle with any GTs in is interesting, and well, you know, that's the thing about GTs. They lend themselves to close racing, them being tin tops, not, you know, not open top prototypes. These you can get a bit more argy-bargy going on it. It is a bit closer racing in the GTs, and they lend themselves to good racing. They really do. Brilliant machines, GT cars, and I'm quite sure that, you know, we're going to see a great battle going on. Yeah,
definitely. And it's going to be a fascinating little race we've got ahead. As there we go, they've done that as well. I just saw, speak of Faustino, I just saw him. Let me have a look here. Just saw him take out. Oh, we'll have contact with the P2. I'm trying to see what happened here. Oh, okay. That's such a minor touch to on one of the P2s. He's just giving a little bit of a nudge on the side. Oh, although that's a weird one. Yeah. So there's some interesting moments going on here, but you know, again, it really is a different form of racing. In a way, multi-class racing. You know, you think it's just the same as normal racing. You just have other cars are slower or faster going around, but there's so much more you got to think about with when, you know, cars coming up on you, what you do, whether you, do you let them through, where do you hold your line, you know, where's the point where you give them the corner, say, or that kind of thing. There's so much more to have to think about all of a sudden in multi-class racing. It's a bit like the whole oval circuit racing things. I just saw Rodriguez have a spin in the Porsche, or half spin anyway. He's rejoined back in P4. Geez, he nearly got cut up there by the Beamer, but they managed to avoid dramas. We'll see if I can see what happened here. Oh, too much curb. Right, too much curb in the Maggotts-Beckett's complex. And half spun. I managed to keep out of the wall though. It was great to pull that up in time. But he has dropped P4. That now makes this Faustino G Wong battle for P2, but I think Faustino is actually going to possibly start pulling away as he just made that move on the Beamer. He'll be chasing after Clapano, who's been just handsomely pulling away while all these guys have been battling and tussling over each other. He's been quietly pulling out the gap there in the MSI Beamer, and looking on song at the moment as we've got Chris Osley just passing them here for position at the moment because he's coming back through the field after that damage earlier on. So he's just getting past Faustino now, and next up for him will be the lead GT, and then he'll be back at the tail end of the P2 field once again. So it's all been an interesting start so far. A few incidences. That's an interesting term. Incidents. There we go. Got it eventually. That have occurred early on here, but looks like hopefully everyone will get into a nice groove now. Start to get used to the cars and how traffic is. Oh, G Wong. Oh, trying to go around the outside of Faustino. They've come together. Oh, they're so lucky they didn't go spearing into the wall there. That was interesting stuff from Wong there. I mean, let me just have a look back at the replay here. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Wow, that's all right. That's one way to rejoin the track. But anyway, yeah, bit of an interesting one there once again. I'm going to be saying interesting one a lot, I think. I have a niggling suspicion. But yeah, they're still going. They're still on the straight and narrow. That's the key thing here. But they got Rodriguez behind them, and he'll be looking to get back through, of course, after that half spin earlier on.
Yeah, hoping to just get back up the field, and well, in Osley's case, you know, just gotta try and get back up the field through there in that Alpine LMP2 that he's got going. Of course, you know, it's not just the GTs that are quite varied as well. You know, Osley is very, very quick in this very quick looking Alpine LMP2. But you know, it's not just the one make series here. We've got obviously a Lola ahead, Divanagra driving that one, powered by Master Straight 4. We got, as well as we got the Hawkeye car, the Ligier GSP2 with a Honda V6 in it. You know, lots of powertrain and different chassis in LMP2s. There's a variety there too.
Definitely, yeah. No, it's always, as we've mentioned with injury races, the variety is always very nice, and obviously the P2s, there's all sorts of different engine chassis combos that you can run. So it's good to see all the teams taking all sorts of different routes on that front as they go along. I'm just looking at Hamnet starting to close back in on Kelvin Wong as well, the P5 in the P2s. So we'll keep an eye on that one, because that could be a very nice little battle between those two that could start up pretty soon. And I think he's actually, I was just thinking through before, he's actually the only Ligier in the field as Hamnet, which is interesting, because I always thought that Ligier was one of the more, was sort of quite popular, but obviously not in here anyway. It probably isn't actually. I think a lot of people like the open top sort of classic looking P2 cars. I don't mind either, I guess. I don't really have a favourite as such. I mean, they all work to me. I probably like the look of the Ligier. I think it looks the cleanest to me. It's very streamlined and just looks very nice in my eye anyway. But yeah, no, it's good to see the variety in P2, as we said. Taruna, the 16 seconds in the lead, it really is just absolutely flying away. I think it's that traffic management. He's just so... he's just managing the traffic so well and passing the GTs very cleanly and very efficiently. And obviously he has done racing in other leagues as well, in endurance racing. So he's actually pretty experienced endurance racer at this point. So I'm not too surprised to see him doing as well as he is, because he's a quick driver, especially in prototypes, and he knows how to handle traffic as well. So if he keeps this up, I wouldn't be surprised if by the halfway he's got a good 30-40 second lead at this point, because he's just managing the traffic about as well as anyone can, I think, in a prototype.
Yeah, Alban Taruna, really capable driver. I've seen him have a go before, and really knows what he's doing in that LMP2, and of course leading at the moment in that Gibson powered car there, the Zytek, and he's really just making it look easy, isn't he? He's just not really having any problems out here at Silverstone, just getting through the traffic, getting the job done, pulling out the gap to Del Rinchon behind him. He's got to be, him and his team have got to be the hot favourites for the race win, obviously, but Taruna definitely doing a fantastic job so far.
Definitely, yeah, I'd say they're on as favourites at the moment. I'm just looking at Jalou trying to lap one of his fellow Astons here, and this is always something that I always see a lot of, is the same class with lapping cars. It's so many times now I see it's very interesting. It's very interesting to watch. To me, I think if you're in the same class and you're a lap down, as I think Lee out of the way now, I'm just watching. This is going to cost you a little position here to Alvarez, because this Aston just isn't getting out of the way, and I've never understood why. Is he going to get out of the way now? No, still not. I mean, he's getting blue flags here. The game's going to be blue flagging him, and it is a same class car, so I'm not quite sure why he hasn't moved out of the way already. Now he moves out of the way, a little bit late. I guess it took him a good half the lap track to do it, but I'm not. We'll clarify. I'm not singling out a driver here. It's more something I've noticed with a lot of different leagues with GTs. Oh boy, there's all sorts of shenanigans going on the GTs back there in the midfield. As Taruna's just come up on it all. He's trying to pierce his way through it, but it's an interesting thing I've noticed. Alvarez did make the move on Jalou and all that, by the way. Jalou nearly spins it, and Taruna had to go off track as well to avoid that. Gee, this has got to be great fun in a prototype when you got GTs going all over the joint here in front of you when you come up on them. But Taruna's managed to get through, and it's all calmed down a little bit of sorts. But yeah, I'm just wondering what geez, Taruna had to. He got so close to the Aston there again. That's the awkward spot to pass to, because he's not quite sure whether the GT is going to give you the inside, the outside. But he thankfully managed to get through without too much contact. I think Alvarez had almost a little moment as well, and Jalou's lost some time once again, so he's going to probably have Putra behind him again pretty soon. But yeah, it's just something I've seen. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, Josh, sorry. Something I've seen a lot with GTs, as I mentioned. Just it sometimes seems to be unclear on when or if they let other cars of their class through when they're a lap down. I mean, I know when you're, it's like a P2, for example, lapping your GT, and of course, it's better to hold the line. That's generally the sort of standard issue way of endurance. Is the fast classes coming up on you, you just hold the line, let them get past you, and that way less chance something is going to happen. But when you're in the same class and getting lapped, I would have thought it'd be the standard rule applies of you get out of the way if you're a lap down. But I see that a lot these days with the same class cars don't get out of the way, or not quickly anyway, and it ends up bottling up the cars, and then then they'll go for a move that they if they go the way a bit earlier, they wouldn't do necessarily the fast GT, and then they end up crashing. So it's just something I see a lot of. Again, I'm not accusing any drivers here of anything. It's something I've noticed with with that sort of thing, with the same class lapping, is that sometimes I've seen it and it's just, don't know if it's done too well generally, as I just saw. Wow. One of the BMWs have a lovely old chuck up the inside of Putra there in the Porsche, and then give him a shove through the next corner. Sorry, I'm just going to go back and watch this. But yeah, little rant, I guess, there, Josh. Apologies for that.
Yeah, that's Miguel Angel Piqueras having a go at Putra there in front of him, and that's the BMW, obviously, of Piqueras having a go, and you can just hear as he gives it the absolute beans. He's got a PT behind him, obviously going to have to go through here. You can hear that BMW V8 screaming up to 9,000 RPM, one of the higher revving cars in this series, the BMW, and well, it certainly sounds good, it looks good, and oh, dearie me, that's still Rinchon getting held up behind Piqueras now, though luckily he's gone through.
Gee, I just, oh my, I mean, I'll just say, Piqueras is very lucky that that Putra had an eye on his rearview mirror, because if he didn't, those two would have ran into each other, because he broke very late. He was not going to make the corner apex. So I don't know if he was trying to do a very, very late dive, or if he just lost his braking point, but I'm assuming he lost his braking point because he's braking really late, and Putra thankfully saw him coming and just opened up the steering there to avoid contact. So very, very lucky stuff. So yeah, but some interesting exchanges going on here in this race so far, but obviously multi-class, you get that. It's, as I said, it's not quite the same as traditional, similar pace or same class racing. Is a bit different, adds a bit of an extra element as Putra, excuse me, he's going to get past by Miguel this time by the looks of it. And try and hold it. No, he's not. He's going to have to cut back in, but another move done there for the Beamer. So he moves up, and oh, geez, he went deep again. He really does. He's braking so late in that BMW, but I guess it's working because he has got past Putra, and now he's coming up on Jalou, who's been slowly dropping down the field here in this early phase of the race. It's been just over half an hour into it. So past the first 31 minutes. By the way, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I should get confirm on that. Yes, it is 10. So the timescale is increased. Just as on mine again, Miguel. Wow, that is. I'm just going to have to look back at this. Sorry, I need to watch this again because it's the second time. Let me have a look here. Oh, wow. Yep. Great. Yeah, that's one way to get a move done. One way to get a move done right there. On Jalou again. Jalou, I think he knew it was coming and saw it, but it's one way to make a pass into the stadium section there at Silverstone. So, yeah, as I said, Josh, there's some interesting stuff going on throughout the field.
Interesting stuff going on in the field, but also interesting weather conditions. I'm being told by our cameraman that there's apparently rain being broadcasted at the moment. So the live weather saying it's raining or going to rain. So this could throw something else into the mix.
Gee, okay. Well, obviously, unless I swear I've got particles on, so I should be able to see it. I'm not seeing any rain on my screen, but
yeah, he's telling us that it was at least raining in the server last night. So I assume there's a possibility it could come back.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I guess we'll soon find out. Part of me, yeah, I think I've already got enough interesting stuff going on here alone in the dry, let alone when there's wet involved. We know how difficult it can be to deal with the RF2 weather system, which we know obviously is not perfect, unfortunately, but it is one of the only systems that really has any actual, dynamic weather in terms of rain in that. So I think it's the only real major sim that has it at the moment. Is a very, very patient touch. Very patient. You've got to be so very patient with it, and just it's almost going by the feel of it, because I know that there's obviously HUDs which tell you the wetness online and offline, so to speak. But of course, the thing a lot of people maybe don't know or forget about is that obviously those HUDs are using the RF1 weather system that obviously was brought into RFE weather. That plugin, that's what they're calculating all off, and unfortunately with RF2's weather system it doesn't work that way. So the numbers you get are a bit flawed and they don't really tell you too much, so you're generally better off going by the eye really, and just sort of by the feel of it, by whether you can feel the tires getting too hot or whether you just feel it's maybe time for dry weather tires or wet weather tires. It's generally that's how you do it with RF2, which I definitely think it adds something extra to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does add something extra. I mean, you got dynamic weather, you've got changing track conditions, as it rubbers in. You got tyres that deform in certain ways, and all this is really helping the battle going on between Harley Hamnet and Kelvin Wong, P5 and P6 at the moment. Hamnet just avoids GT car there, but yeah, this is going to be interesting stuff to hear this goes, because Hamnet has been slowly but surely closing the gap down on Kelvin Wong for a few laps now, and he's catching up bit by bit. The gap's under a second now. It was 1.5 the last time I checked. So Harley really starting to close in now. We're going to get a nice Ligier versus Alpine battle going on here. Of course, the Alpine pretty much in Orica anyway, but it hardly matters. And, well, we'll see what Harley Hamlet can do.
Indeed, yeah, I just saw Alvarez and the Beamer have a half spin there. In the double left-hander in the middle of the circuit, but he's recovered without any contact. But he has lost a few spots from that, so he'll be going to recover. I'm just looking at G Wong and Faustino, battle for P2 and GTAs as well. Faustino's been really on pace. He's been absolutely flying that Porsche, and I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe even can challenge up towards Calapano, who's basically holding the gap. It's got to be about, I guess, around 10 seconds thereabouts, and he hasn't really been getting away too much in the last few laps. So if Faustino can get clear, he might have a chance. I just saw a Audi. Oh, Lachlan Andrews spinning in the Aston. He's trying to rejoin, and he's in an awkward spot. He's going to rejoin okay, though. Hopefully he'll get going nice and quickly here, because he's in a bit of an awkward spot. There we go, gets going again. Having some struggles in that Aston, it would seem. But Serena's still leading at the moment, but as you say, Hamnet and Calvin Wong probably the better to watch for P5 overall. The P2s looking like Hamnet's just been slowly closing in over the last few laps. He's got a big old gap up to Endon Wong. He's next up in P4, so I don't know if he'll be able to catch him anytime soon, but he definitely has been catching up to Calvin Wong, who's taking some very interesting lines through these corners. But anyway, I'm really, well, if he keeps doing that, I don't think the RF2 training system's going to let him get away too long. It can be a bit strict sometimes if it is on. I'm not sure if it is on, but if it is, it'll start pinging it pretty soon. It's coming up on a BMW. Oh, Kelvin went for the passer on the GT and it didn't quite work out. And Hamlet's going to have a lovely run now down towards the double left-hander in the Ligier. Oh, I don't know if he's got the power by the looks of it. No, he's going to back out. I think he wants to deal with the GT first. I think they've got another one coming soon. But yeah, it's a good battle for P5.
Yeah, I was about to say, Hamnet here really giving it the full beans at the moment on Wong here. He's closed right up, and I imagine sooner rather than later he will get his chance for the go for the overtake. Of course, different power units in those cars, V6 versus V8. Ligier has the Honda V6, of course, and the big Gibson Nissan V8, and the Alpine, of course. One is turbocharged, one is naturally aspirated, but very differing powertrains here. I don't know whether Hamlet's going to be slightly slower on the straights or what, but he definitely seems to have the cornering advantage at the moment. Yeah,
for sure, as they continue on their way. I'm just trying to have a little find something. I'm quite finding it. It's a bit annoying, but anyway, I'll find it eventually. But yeah, Small holding on still. But Hamlet's right there. I swear I'm seeing some clouds as well around, which could be interesting. So one thing I was going to mention, I got on to mentioning, I didn't quite finish off, was that we do have time scale on, by the way, as well. So 10 times time scale. So I believe, obviously, with 2.4 hours is going to be like a shortened miniature 24 hours is what it's meant to be. So there will be night time at some point, as I think I just saw. Oh, it's Audi there have another moment in the P2. So I can go back and find out what's happened there. But yeah, so we will have nighttime and all that kind of thing that'll go on. So something to look forward to. That's why you'll see that not time transition be so quick, because it's meant to simulate like a miniature 24 hours for you. So something to bear in mind. I just watched. Ooh, wow, that's so okay. I just saw a P2 inside a Porsche. That's always quite interesting to see. Faustino literally flew over a P2. That's got to be lag, because it's, yeah, wow, that is quite something. There we go. So P2 and a Porsche fused into one, and I think.
Oh, blimey!
Yeah, I think Audi is kind of stopping for a bit, trying to figure out exactly what just happened. So that's a very old one. I believe they're going now. They are, so they got going again. But that would have been quite the experience. But Hamlet's actually dropped back from Kelvin. Looks like Kelvin's managed to just pull out a wee bit of a gap. But I tell you what, Aaron Taruna is just absolutely flying at the moment. I believe he's actually. Yeah, I think he's just very consistent, isn't he? He's really consistently getting the job done, as well as I said, just being so good with traffic. I think that's the key thing here, is he's got that experience, quite a fair chunk of experience with endurance and having to deal with slower traffic. So he knows how you've got to play. He knows sort of the intricacies of all that. And it's really showing right now, because he's just absolutely been galloping away out in the lead. 25 seconds. and we're just about to go 40 minutes in this race. So he's on an absolute mission, Owen, and looking very good at this point.
Yeah, looking good at the moment, and well, this could be very interesting to see. You know, I mean, how it's going to get dark, as you mentioned. If it is 10 times time scale, we're going to have dark and light racing. It is going to be a mini 24, and that's going to make things very interesting because we're going to have night and day driving in the space of 2.4 hours. Really going to throw things up and down here, and that's going to be great for, you know, seeing how the drivers react to that, because night racing is a completely different thing. You know, you've got to be a lot more careful because you can't see where you're going.
Yeah, it says, as we said, it's going to make the interglass passing even more interesting as well, because if I think it's difficult enough in the day and in the night, it's just even more of a challenge as you got to deal with low visibility, as well as, you know, having those slower cars around you or faster cars around you, depending on what class you're in. But just looking at the battle for P4, yes, P4 and GTs, pretty interesting one between McGrail, Putra and Jalou. They're all having a nice tussle. Beamer, Porsche and Aston. I think they've just separated a little bit now, so we'll keep an eye on that for you though. Putra's been pretty quick, but I think he's just had a couple of errors which keep dropping back a little bit. But looking solid, as I'm just seeing Mark Ellman in the Porsche have a spin further back in 21st, so a moment for him as he's got the lead GT coming up on him now. Can we get out of the way there? Yep, good stuff. But yeah, interesting stuff on these early stages. Teruma continues to slowly pull out the gap. P2 is pretty spread out apart from Hamnet and Kelvin Wong, but Kelvin's just stabilised a bit now. I think he's starting to get some consistency going, and looking not too bad as Harley just geez, goes around the outside on the Porsches. They're very, very risky. You always go around when you're going around the outside of a GT, because obviously they don't quite have the grip P2s do, so it's always a bit of an interesting one, but managed to get through okay. I'm actually looking at G Wong. Looks like he may be slowly closing in on Clapano. Clapano's been very consistent, very clean, but he probably doesn't look like he actually has the best pace, raw pace-wise, but he's just so consistent compared to his competitors. That's kind of where he's getting away here, is he's just keeping it clean, no mistakes, and especially in these longer races, it's just such a key asset to have, to be able to just pump in those solid laps lap after lap.
Yeah, just really, you know, getting the laps in sometimes in endurance racing is what you need to do, and that's what Owen Serena's doing at the front, of course. But do you know, as well as that, it's what Harley Hamlet's trying to do, kind of catch Kelvin Wong as well. And well, we go back to young G Wong. He's trying to do that to catch the cars around him as well. As dear, we may have just seen Sebastian Rodriguez there getting past the, I believe, the lapped Mark Ellman there. Just almost made contact. Rodriguez in 12th in that GT, and well, you know, it just goes to show how close the GTs can get sometimes.
Definitely. So this saw Miguel had a little bit of a spin there in the BM, so he's actually dropped behind Alvarez, who's in turn behind Jalou. So Jalou's now actually in P4 in class again. So in that back into the top 5 in GT, it's constantly changing as people make more mistakes and that kind of thing, which is interesting to note. Putra, I believe, also had a little moment as well, because he's dropped down to 16th overall behind Miguel. And what was Miguel? Yeah, okay, he's just taking a interesting line, but also trying to break Putra's slipstream potentially. Is Truba's in, by the way, in P3 in class and the P2s at 42 minutes in this race. I don't think fuel usage is made worse or made heavier here. Yeah, so fuel and tyre wear is the same. It's just that the time has been sped up to simulate a 24-hour in a shortened form. But Truba's in now. It looks like he is taking tyres, which is interesting to see. Although if they're all doing softs, which I guess I would assume they would be, because generally that's the tactic with the P2. Well, the tactic with the P2s is either you go mediums and maybe do 2 or 3 stints and just, you know, keep them alive, or you go the softs and just go hell for leather and do, you know, a tyre change every stint or 2, and just absolutely bring the neck at them, and go full boost as well. It depends on what you want to do. Because if you go boost 1, I think you can usually get around an hour if you do that, but obviously you're slower having less boost. But if you go full boost, you can get about, I think it's about 35-40 minutes depending on the track. And I know that it's been an interesting thing in a few other leagues with using Duroces with the boost, because it's always very interesting to see the differences, because you'll get some people going hell for leather with the, you know, full boost, soft tyres, just doing real short stints but being really quick. And then you have the guys who'll be extending the stints to an hour. They won't be quite as quick, but they'll do less stops and possibly less tyre changes, which always makes it even more interesting when it all comes together at the end for who played the strategy right.
Yeah, really just, all down to strategy. Sometimes you just got to get that right. And even in a 2.4-hour race, which you talked about being a sprint, it can obviously play into your hands as well. Eduardo Del Rinchon has just come into the pits there from P2 in the P2. So P2 and P2 overall. That's going to get confusing. But yeah, going to switch the tyres by the looks of it. Car's up, gone on the jacks. Maybe going for a bit more of an aggressive strategy here. Obviously, a third of the way through the race we are almost. It doesn't feel like it, but yeah, it feels like it's been slightly less. It's that's the thing. These races are so short; they go through really quickly. And well, Del Rinchon here just going to change tires. He's probably on max boost, probably trying to get the gap down to Taruna as much as possible. But Arwen, I guess, has got a more conservative strategy. Going to be boost one, trying to take care of the tires. He's got a big gap. He's got a big gap, so why push it? As Edmund Wong is I do believe gone ahead of Del Rinchon, of course, because he's in the pits. But yeah, Taruna probably just taking it easily.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like I'm just seeing if anyone else pits now, because definitely if you're going full boost, you'd probably be pitting basically now. I think about 45 minutes is probably the best you get out of a full boost stint around Silverstone most circuits. As I said, it's usually an hour for if you're trying to extend the fuel. As Del Rincon comes back out, he's going to come out ahead. He's actually come out ahead of Trubo, which is interesting. I'm pretty sure they were the other way around for the stop, so that's interesting. They had a little bit of a switcheroo there, and that is the same team, by the way. So they're the same team car, those guys, and they have both done this strategy, which is interesting. The World of Sim Racing cars, these two are P2s, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. There's a P2s. Calvin Wong has spun out of the left-hander. We have a look here. Do you have a contact with the GT? Oh, no, he just took way too much curve trying to pass the GT. Gee, that's very lucky that he didn't cause big impacts there, but he did well. He managed to keep the car off the track, so he didn't cause any more contact. What that has meant is that now Harley Hamlin is past him on the road and should be P5 effective. Again, though, depending on what the strategies are, because I reckon the Del Rincon and Truba are both doing the short, quick stints. Well, it looks like they might be the only two P2s who are doing that. It looks like every other P2 is staying out, so I'm guessing that every other one of them is going to do the boost one or two, go for an hour-long stint sort of strategy. So interesting to see which will come out on top in this kind of race. More than anything, it depends on how fast you can go on that lower boost. If you can go fast enough, then you might be able to make it work on that lowest fuel. But yeah, it's interesting scenes here to see the different strategies in P2. GT, it's still Calipano leading from Rodriguez now, so I'm not sure if there's been a pit stop there actually, because it's where there was someone, yeah, G1 was in there. He's down 18th, so I'm guessing he's had a stop already, which seems a bit early for a GT, unless they've got a different strategy in mind, because 2.4 hours is a bit awkward strategy-wise. Especially if you're doing hour-long stints, because then you've got to do a shorter one to the end, which can make it a bit tricky if you haven't got anything to judge the fuel too accurately or anything like that. So it's going to be fascinating to see. But Wong apparently down in 18th now. I'm guessing he's had a scheduled stop, so we'll see where he pops out at the end of all this. But yeah, it's looking pretty juicy for GT as well. As I said, everyone's a little bit spread out now. Joe Vanderwaals up to 19th, by the way. And then Corvette is looking to try to recover the earlier on. P2's a little spread out as well, as we saw Calvin Wong there have that spin, so he's dropped down to P5 behind Harley Hamlin now, and Alan Turner is just absolutely galloping with this one. He's having a great time out there in the lead. Oh gee, that was almost, could have been an awkward moment with the GT, managed to get through okay. Very nice skin as well, that car that he's driving. I do like that quite a lot, looks very nice indeed.
Yeah, lovely looking car, and well, there's quite a few on the grid. The very nice looking cars. Just goes to show, this is something I talk about a lot when I'm doing commentary. The license really just to make express how you want to be in sim racing. You can, with a car, you can paint it whatever color you like. I mean, my team's colours are pink, and white, so that's very garish. But yeah, it's just you can really express yourself and your team and what you stand for, through a skin, and just really it's so much more creative. Like, you can have what you want in sim racing.
Definitely, it's always very nice to have those skins running around as they continue on their way. His beam is still going along in formation at the moment. That's a pretty close battle between Putra, Alvarez and Miguel. Looks like Putra's coming back at Alvarez again. I believe the second time, may have been battling them earlier on. Porsche versus BMW. Looks like Alvarez is holding for the moment, but that Porsche is looking pretty speedy. I won't be too surprised if Putra has to go sooner rather than later. As soon as he comes in towards the back end of the circuit, and he's looking close, but he's not quite close enough yet to make the move stick. As looking to say, I'm waiting for if any of the other P2s are going to stop soon, but I think they're all gone for the lower boost strategy, judging from the fact they're still out there. So I reckon they'll probably end up pitting around about an hour into the race is when I'd say they'll pit, because generally you can go about an hour or maybe a little bit more. I think hour or hour 5 thereabouts when you're doing a boost one strategy. So we'll soon see who's going to have the advantage. Del Rincon, though, stuck behind Harley Hamnet, so that's kind of balked his strategy. So he's getting held up there. Well, held up, or it's possible Hamlet's just being able to do good pace here. We'll soon find out. But it's a good little bell for P3, and at the moment that would be effective as Del Rincon nearly has a coming together with one of the GT Porsches there. I'll have a little look back on the old replay of that one, because that was very close. Really, oh gee, that's an interesting one. Del Rincon there, seeing Hamnet go around the outside and thinks, you know what, I want to go the inside, because why not? And nearly has a moment with the Porsche there. I'm not quite sure he didn't follow Hamnet through there. It's a bit interesting one, but either way, he managed to get through with that contact. But a bit of a scary moment for both parties, I think.
Yeah, slightly scary moment, I think, for both. And you know that P2 racing isn't always easy, but Del Rincon here, right on the back of Hamnet now. It's going to look, well, I thought he was going to look down the inside, but Hamnet's overshot. And Del Rincon, gets a bit of a kick out of himself. This is not easy to do, battling in P2 sometimes when you're staying spot on for a bit. But Del Rincon here, going to keep chasing Hamnet. This is 3rd overall, let's remember. This is fairly important overall position here. So Eduardo's going to want to make sure he doesn't really mess around here. He wants to get this done as soon as possible. But Hamnet wants the opposite. He wants to just hold on and keep Del Rincon behind him.
Definitely, yeah. As they continue on their fight for P3 in class and overall. And Del Rincon, you'd think it theoretically should be able to make the move. I mean, as I said, I thought he would be on full boost, judging from their strategy. So I would think he'd be on full boost. And fresh rubber, you would have thought he should be able to make this move stick pretty, nicely. As I think Hamnet having a bit of a moment with the double left-hander there, but not enough to make lose the position. As Taruna has come up on the both of them now, and he's about to put them a lap down. So then it's only the top 2 on the lead lap. Just showing Taruna's dominance here so far as he gets past Del Rincon now. Should do. There we go, gets past. There's a little flash there at Hamnet to let him know what's going on. And this is going to be interesting to see what happens here, because Hamnet is behind the lane. Yep, I think he'll land through here. He will. Yep, there we go, nicely done. And actually holds on the position from Del Rincon as well, so that worked out pretty well for Hamnet. But yeah, Taruna gets through, and he is leading very handsomely now. Minute 17 back to Edmund Wong. So at this point, he's on for lapping the whole field. I reckon about 7 minutes into this one. So yeah, it's been pretty much a perfect start for the clean getaway. Pumping in the laps. It's very nice as here comes Del Rincon down, hanging us straight up the inside. Just haven't got to find him too hard. He's trying to up under. No, I think he just gave the position there. I think again he's thinking long term here. He's obviously soon Del Rincon pit, and thought, you know what, at the moment probably better I just focus on my race, and we can maybe get back at them strategy for the podium.
Nice little battle going on here between Raja Putra and Alvarez. Raja Putra's just gone through, got into 14th overall there, past Andros Alvarez in the BMW, and well, they were battling it out for quite a few corners before that, but Alvarez has managed to get through there, and well, obviously, you know, he's going to be not happy that he's obviously the position's gone to Putra there, and he's going to try and chase down again, and they've got a car that's going to be lapped ahead. That is actually that is Chris Payne at the moment in 21st overall, so they're going to have to get past him. And, well, Alvarez is going to want this position back, but it was a good move from Putra to get through.
Yeah, it is. I was just looking back at, oh, yes, at Taruna there was trying to get past, oh, he wasn't even trying to get past him, he just went into the right-handed too hot there after turn 1 into the stadium section, and half spun it in the end, so probably the first error we've seen from Taruna all race. And that's dropped him back behind Hamnet and Del Rincon again, so he's got to relap them. So a little bit of a moment there for Alwyn. He's gone off a lead there. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that's probably really wounded is maybe a little bit of pride and and the tyres perhaps, but being in the end of the stint, not too bad. It would have been a lot worse. Oh, Zini spins again. Gee, that was very close. So having a few issues, it would seem. Don't know if he's worn the tyres a bit too hard or what's going on there, but we're looking for that fresh rubber, that's for sure, if he's struggling this side.
Yeah, probably just struggling a bit. I mean, when you get to this point in the race, if you're still on the same tyres as you started on, you're going to get serious wear going on. And I assume with Arwen Taruna maybe having his little incident before, that's what's happening. But yeah, it's just, you know, tyre preservation in endurance racing can win your races sometimes. And well, in a 2.4 hour, it's of slightly less importance, but it's still relatively important that you do keep your tyres in relatively good nick.
Yeah, for sure, as Chris Payne and JK are in. Aston or Ferrari and Aston, also Edmund Wong is in second overall. And that's an interesting time to pit. 55 minutes in. That's not really a full boost run. It's not probably quite a boost one run, really. I don't know if they're. Although 55 minutes, that'd probably basically be bang on for getting them to the end on 2 stops, if my maths is correct, and they'd be able to do the same fuel length each time. So they might have figured out a nice little strategy there with boost 2 and boost 3 maybe, and just juggling it between the two, aiming at a time period to pit rather than just going their full, the full thing on others. Actually, no, Taruna's in as well, so is Wong. Both Wongs are in as well, so maybe everyone's doing it. It might just be a strategy they've all figured out, trying to aim for about 55 minutes to get to the end on 2 nice even stops might be the strategy, although there are a few others still going. Hamnet's still going out there in P3 now. He's the leading P2 not to pit. Stephen Boucade's also still going. He's yet to pit now in P5. Audie's yet to pit as well in the P2 and P8 overall, number 16 machine. I think Chris Osley's yet to pit again after the earlier damage. So got some, as we said, we've got a lot of different strategies playing out here. Wong's back out P6. Calvin Wong will be back out soon as well, as I think Taruna's probably going to be out now. Yep, there he goes. Taruna back out again as well. So they got their strategy playing out. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Hamnet and Boucade in soon. As I think there's a driver change. No, there wasn't. Sorry, no, there was not. Not yet. They'll probably be the next stop, I would say. But this actually makes it a bit interesting for the driver change as well, because means that the second driver is only gonna do, what probably do about. You're either going to do most of the race or a third of the race or thereabouts. So it's a bit of an old one. It makes it even more interesting to try and, sort out who wants to do most of the race and who wants to do maybe the lesser part of it.
Yeah, the driver change is interesting because we're going to see the other drivers get into these cars. I know in that Hawkeye car, it'll be Harley Hamnet switching over to Rick Scott. And, well, Scott perhaps not as quick as Hamnet, but definitely a very good, consistent driver in his own right. And I've watched him in R-Factor 2. He's really starting to get to grips with the simulator now. So could be one to watch out for. But again, Taruna's put his team in a very good position as well. So when his teammate gets in, it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes.
Definitely, yeah. It was, Taruna's back out again and going along. We're getting into would it be the late afternoon in game, so we'll be getting towards the night phase of this race. As we said, times 10 on the time scale, so it will be like basically 24 hours, just in a shorter period. So there will be some night racing in the middle part, probably in the next sort of, I'd say, 10-15 minutes in real time. Probably we'll start to get towards the night kicking in, I would say. But certainly adds an interesting one to it. Faustino must have been in at some point, although he's got no front end, so I'm guessing he's had a big issue somewhere because he's dropped down to the very back end of the field and a lap off P25. So big shame for him, because they were battling up in the top 3 there in that Porsche. So obviously somewhere they've had a do, and that's cost them some major time, as Audie's in as well. It now leaves just the I believe pretty much just the Stephen Boucade entry there, number 36, LMP1, so LMP2, sorry, to come in. He's gone a long way in the stint, though, it would seem. 58 minutes, he's almost got the hour, so they must be doing boost 1, I'd say, and just trying to do the fuel as long as they can, maybe go for a shorter final stop on the fuel. But we will see. What I'll be interested to see, actually, is if anyone tries to go from here to the end on one set of tyres, especially if they go to the mediums. I think it might be possible, but it depends on what strategy you're playing at. I guess it's going to be probably the deciding factor, as Turuna's back out effectively 32 seconds ahead of Del Rincon. But again, I'm pretty sure Del Rincon and Truber are doing different strategies. From what I can tell to everybody else, they're doing full boost and probably changing tyres every stop as well. So they're going to possibly be stopping one more time than everybody else. in this race, which may mean that they could actually be lower than they are now, effectively. So, again, it's all going to play out in the coming minutes of this race as we're about to kick up towards an hour. So, just actually over a third. I keep going to say a third because it's 2.4 hours, not 3. So, over a third now, but we're getting past the first hour mark now, and yeah, it's been plenty interesting this race so far.
It has been very interesting. Obviously, lots of stuff going on, and well, different drivers, different teams having the best time of it. And well, I'm interested to see how the rest of it goes because, you know, the first hour's been this good, and well, it is clouding over very nicely here, Thomas, actually, for the potential rest of the race. So maybe rain is on the horizon, because that is not looking exactly clear sky, is it?
No, for sure. I don't know if I'm excited or terrified for it, because I know that the rain can be very tricky in RF2. So I'm not really sure to think on that one, because it's not easy at all. Certainly with the wet tires, especially with the differing rate of wetness that happens in RF2, it can get very dicey in the wet. So just make things even more interesting. So. We'll see. It's looking clear for the moment, but yeah, there is definitely some clouds that have popped up in the last sort of 10 minutes of the race, so could all change very soon. It's all pretty quiet on the battles front. Everyone's just in their own spaces. Hamlet is in now, we're on the hour mark, so they'll be probably doing a short fill on that second stop, which will be helpful for them. They'll be in the pits for a bit of a less time in that car, so let's see.
Yeah, Hamnet is in for quite a long time. I imagine this will be a driver change to Rick Scott, actually. He's waiting about. So Scott should be getting in that car now, and Hamnet should be getting out. Obviously, tyre change going on as well. And, well, let's see what Rick Scott can do.
Yeah, definitely. And they might be doing a double here. So they might do Hamnet now, then Rick in, and then maybe Hamnet again for the end, potentially, might be their strategy. Just to give Harley a bit of a rest for the last steer. But definitely probably the more efficient way to do it in a way, although obviously the thing you're doing then is you do have 2 driver changes, and I think from memory there is a set time that gets added on with driver change for RF2, so you can't change with the way it all works to obviously simulate a driver getting in and out. So it's efficient in terms of the keeping drivers energized, but when it's such a short race and you're losing time on driver changes, it may end up costing them extra time if they do go back to Harley Hamnet at the end as well. Also, Rick might be doing to the end here, which we'll find out obviously in the coming portions of the race. But he's popped back out in P6 overall, and he will be ahead of Calvin Wong by the looks of it. Although there's issues. There is issues. He's pulled over the side, Rick. And,
oh no!
Rick, yeah, I think there's hardware issues. Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah, he stopped. This is interesting.
I hope he can get going, though. I think he's having hardware problems. I don't know if maybe he's got to get
I think he couldn't disengage the pit limiter. That's what it is, because he was very slow out of the pits as well. So maybe having problems with that, I don't know, Rick Scott. But he's just pulled to the side of the track. This has gone disastrously well for Hawkeye. And Calvin Wong's going ahead. So they've dropped from 3rd to 7th. As Scott seems to be moving again.
Yeah, slowly. I don't think he can get it off by the looks of it. I'm trying to. There's no indicator on the dash, and actually, I'm not getting any.
No, they're out.
Oh no! No! He's going again. Okay, he's going again.
Oh,
he's gone
right.
back.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he might be right. It's got to be that he can't get the pit limiter off. It's the only thing I can think of. I can't think of anything else this could be.
Well, that's interesting enough. Well, interestingly, usually I think in R-Factor 2, once you escape off, that's it. I thought you were out. But Scott is, yep, Scott's
now.
going again. He's good now.
He's good
well,
now.
Obviously, whatever he's done, it's worked.
Yeah, he's trying to... Yeah, it was either pit limiter or, as I said, maybe his pedals or something wasn't quite feeling right. But he looks like he's good now. But geez, yeah, they've lost a lot of time. They're now down to P7 and class a lap off as well. So they're going to have a hard time, I think, coming back up to anything above maybe top 5 unless there's issues ahead. So got a bit of a mountain to climb now in that Hawkeye car. Again, I'm not sure what exactly the issue was, but I'm going to assume it was possibly pit limiter, because that would make sense with how he was reacting there. But big shame for them. We still have 25 to 26 cars running, which is great to see. We got all the field bar 1 still running in this race, which is great to see. As well, I'm actually just seeing in the chat, the league chat here that oh no, it looks like Arwen they might be having that issue that, well, you know, RF2, unfortunately, one of the I guess one of the things we say, just RF2 things is what we generally classify it as, but it looks like they can't get Arwen out of the car. So it looks like the Arwen's stuck in there. I've had this happen before in a couple of races with me as well, where you go to select someone in spectator who you want to switch to, and the game just does not let you switch. It just, you keep trying to do it, and it just will not let you switch no matter what you do. I don't, you know, to this day, I don't think there's still been a cause to what is wrong, or why it does it, that's been found yet, from what I understand. I think it's still an issue that's trying to be resolved by S397, but it is an issue that's known in RF2 that sometimes it won't let you change driver, and it can be, it is, especially for endurance racing, it can be the most frustrating thing. So we may have some dramas following here, because he may not be able to get out of that car. So we'll see. Hopefully they can fix it before the last stop, and at least get it working for the end. But God, it's a real shame the RF2 issue is popped up for him.
Yeah, real shame that's happened for Taruna from such a dominant lead as well. He must have gone to try the driver swap on his previous pit stop, and it didn't work, and that's why Del Rinchon has gone so far, you know, closer to him. Obviously, Taruna is just going to have to try that at some point when he's gained more time, but, you know, if he can't get it sorted, he's going to have to do the whole 2.4 by himself, and that is going to be taxing.
Yeah, well, yeah, as I said, I mean, it isn't, I mean, well, I don't know if I haven't really seen whether they've been, I assume they've been working on a fix for it, because as I said, I know this issue has happened. It's not one that this isn't the first time I've seen it. As I said, I've actually experienced it twice in races myself with this glitch, where it just, but yeah, you guys, they do everything that you normally would, but for whatever reason, the game just, you'll keep trying to click to the next driver, and it will not let you stay in that box, and it will just keep going back up and not letting you do anything. And I think I remember one time when I had it in a race, we got every driver we had come in and try and get it to work, and it just kept not working. And then for whatever reason, after everyone else had tried, we tried with me again, and it worked mysteriously for some reason. So it's really strange why it does it. I don't know if the cause has been found. I assume not, because it's such a seemingly random chance of it happening, and there doesn't seem to be any real explanation for it as of yet. I think I know with the other league where I've seen it happen, they've tried to knuckle down a bit on getting exact upstream and downstream settings in the network settings. I know that's something they've tried to see if that'll work. I'm not sure if it has actually changed it. I think I've still seen issues with it, but yeah, unfortunately that's having an effect here. But yeah, he's continuing on, still leading, but as you say, he may have to go the whole thing itself, because I'm just seeing the leak chat here. The way they're describing it is exactly how it's happened to me, and I know that there's no real concrete fix you can do. You just got to kind of keep trying and hope the game sort of cooperates, really. This is what you got to hope for. But yeah, Arwen's still leading. He's opening the gap up, but we'll see if he has to do a 2.4 hours here, because as we said, it's going to be a taxing one if he has to do the whole thing.
Yeah, there's a great battle going on between two BMWs at the moment. Yang Jivong and Lixon Amsterdin here, 15th and 16th overall, which I believe is about 6th and 7th in class, these two. So, interesting position going on as well for this battle here between these two. Both BMWs, of course, and chasing each other down. They were side by side coming into the final turn, but Amsterdin handed it back out, but he's gotten ahead. Obviously, again, Chris Osley comes into the pits in front of them. But yeah, interesting to see here. It looks like Jivong has actually got himself a nice run into the next turn, and I'm going to see, no, he backs out of it. Oh, as Amsterdin goes wide, there you go. That's probably what he's waiting for, and Yang Jivong goes into 15th.
Yeah, for sure, as he now makes the move there. And he said he pitted earlier on, seemingly out of sync. He seemed to have pitted out of sync with the rest of the GTs, because he was up in the top 3 in that BMW, but he is coming back through. He may have actually had an issue as well. Potentially he had contact with Faustina, maybe that's why they both dropped down. Not quite sure, but he's continuing on, looking like he's doing right now, as Chris Osley in from the P2 class, from P9 overall. 68 minutes into this race. But my very rudimentary. There we go. Maths is not wrong. Yeah, no, 72 minutes. There we go. Got it. There we go. Took me to get it, but yeah, 72. So we're 3 minutes away from halfway in this one, and the sun's starting to set in this accelerated 24-hour period. And we should, as I said, I reckon we'll get some night racing in the next 5-10. As you can see, the lights are starting to have a bit more of an effect now. Got a lovely sunset as well. Oh, hello. There's a BMW going off at I believe that's Stowe there. One of the, it's
that looks like
Din, yeah.
Amsterdam Din's gone off at Stowe. That is not well. Yeah, it's not the easy. Well, it's a pretty easy corner to get wrong if you take it too quickly, of course. I'm just gonna look back and see what happened. It was just lost it on the A. It was in the middle of the corner. Looked like the rears locked up and the back stepped out. Couldn't quite save it into the gravel. And that has cost Amsterdam some time. In fact, they've come in. So, Lixton is now in and to the pits. This might even be a driver change. In fact, several drivers in. Roger Pucher is in. Alvarez is in as well. So maybe this is driver change time for the GTs.
Possibly, yeah. Might be time for them. Leader in class, Clapano, is still going along. He's got Sebastian Rodriguez still behind him. They've basically been holding station more or less for a while, I think. But Clapano's looked like he's actually gotten a bit stronger in the recent past. Is looking at a good little battle between Wong. Oh, I was going to say Wong and Bouquet, but Bouquet ended up pinning. So I believe that's their first stop. Wow, they went 70 minutes in that car. So nearly halfway. Oh, geez, they're going to have to push it hard. Oh, gee, they're going to have to do a lot of conserving. But I wonder if they can get to the end on this one stop. They're going to have to be boost one and probably fuel saving as well to make up the extra 5 minutes or so. But they might be. I think that was their plan. They're going to try and make it a one stop, but I don't know. It's a lot of fuel you're going to have to save right there. That's 5 minutes effectively, possibly more depending on when the last lap is. That you're going to have to save fuel wise, which is not easy to do, and you're trying to also go at a decent pace as well. So we'll see. But that'll be quite something. If they can do one stop, that's an achievement itself right there.
Yeah, a one-stop race over this distance would be very interesting to see how it goes. I mean, like, you'd have to have super tyre preservation and super fuel preservation to do that, but if it can be done, then, hats off to them. It's just starting to dusk up here at Silverstone. Obviously, with the 10 times time simulation, we will be having some night racing, but just starting to dusk up, just starting to get to the point where it's going to say headlights are now required in R-Factor 2, and drivers will have to use them all to be disqualified.
Yep. That's obviously, we've had, I know I've seen in other leagues, there's been some issues with that, where some people have not abided by the very clear warning that pops up in your chat. It's not hard to see. It says it pretty clearly, put your lights on, or, you'll be disqualified pretty much, it says. It says they're required, as I think it says, headlights are required now, just put them on. Anyway, I never quite understood how it was as confusing as a couple of people found it. But anyway, looks like I think I can see most of them got the headlights on as well, so they're getting them on nice and early, so that'll be all good for them. Bouquet is, he's head of one of the, it's actually ahead of Del Rincon there in P2, so he's going to have to let him through. As they go along, Rick Scott's still on 7th. He's going to have to do a lot of work to be set after the issues they had there out of the stop. Del Rincon. Wow, getting okay. That's an interesting moment. So we've got a GT off and Bouquet's off as well. He's rejoined in an interesting sort of manner as well. I'll see if I can just go back on this because I'm not quite sure what the go was there. That was a bit of an odd one, but interesting moments. I'll just have a look back here at what's happened. It is getting in that sunlight period though, so it is very easy to miss your braking points, especially at this point in the race. But yeah, he just went a bit deep, and I think Del Rincon was kind of trying to just wait to see what he did, and in the end he's kind of had a spin on his own. As I've just seen Chris Osley has retired as well.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll see if I can go back and see what the go is here, and see if I can figure out why he retired. This one's a real shame for them. Start running around all right there, back into P2. Not quite seeing it. Gee, there must have been a bit of go then, because I'm not actually finding when he had the moment. But yeah, either way, they're out now, unfortunately. So, oh no, back out again. Okay, so apparently these guys can escape here in this race, so they at least get a chance to continue on. So Chris will continue on in this race. 4 laps down though, but at least he can try and get to the end and get a finish out of this one, I'd say.
Oh, that's good to see Owsley back. I mean, obviously the server settings obviously set up so that people can do that. Explains why Scott could before, quite lenient server settings, and that's good to see. Though it has put Owsley behind Sebastian Rodriguez and Alexis Capano in the GT class. Those two are actually quite close together, and they're going for the lead of the GT class. There's only about a second or 2 seconds in it at the moment. Rodriguez in that brilliant sounding Porsche, of course, with the flat 6 engine, chasing down the screaming V8 of Clapone's BMW, and well, if these two get together and have a race, it could be very interesting because this is for the lead of GT.
Definitely, as you can see, the night time's coming in just over halfway through this race. Looks like Bouquet's come back in again. I wonder if that might be because he cooked the tyres after that spin. Obviously, again, we know RF2 very sensitive tyre temps for the sim. Probably, well, let's be real, probably the most sort of, I'd say, advanced in terms of tyre temps and that kind of thing of the sims, with what a spin will do to them. It can absolutely wreck your tyres in terms of temperatures and all that kind of thing. So it's very advisable to not spin because, especially as I mentioned, some mods, especially when you have a spin, it can just absolutely destroy your tyres. And it looks like that may have been the case there for Bacardi. He had that spin there right in that corner where he's going through now, and it looks like he thought, must have probably felt the tyres were feeling a bit poor, so he's come in again to get some new ones. So what that does mean now, though, is if you can keep it clean, they should be able to get to the end on this one stop to keep that strategy doing that they're trying to go after. But we'll find out if that works out. Steven Rodriguez in, by the way, in the Porsche, so again, I'm guessing they own the one stop. So obviously, if a lot of the GTs here probably doing just the one stop race is their plan. And I'll see if I can see if Sebastian subs out, because he probably will. I'd say he'll do half and then switch over to his partner, who will do the other half, I'm guessing, unless he is doing it on his own, which he might be. But we'll see as they come through. I'm going to guess he's going to switch though at the end of the stop. Looks like they might be doing the driver change now. As I said, that's compulsory. I think it's about 20 seconds, I think it is, for a driver change is the time. I know it's a set amount of time, can't remember exactly how much, but there is a set time to do it, so that it simulates that, so you can't, just switch driver every time without a cost of time. So you actually have to sort of consider that as well. Looks like he's still there, as they're not really, as it's so quick, isn't it? The transition's not very long when it's sped up. I know Rodriguez is continuing on, so he might well do the whole race then, if that's the case. So there's a few drivers here deciding they'll do the whole race on their own, which is fair enough if they're willing to. 2.4 is a pretty long stint. I've done a few 3-hour stints as well, and they're quite long, so 2.4 is no easy task, that's for sure. But looks like a few of them are going to be doing that, so they'll have a nice mini 24 hours on their own. They can say they did 24 hours on their own, just not mention that it's sped up.
Yeah, they can say that, hey, I did a 24-hour race. It doesn't matter that it was sped up 10 times, I still did a 24-hour race. And well, they've got something to talk about, I guess. In that case, they've got some sort of bragging rights over their friends. But yeah, it's just so dark now, and it's going to affect the visibility, and some drivers are going to be, really worrying about, I'm going to get past here, as Kelvin Wong is actually trying to unlap himself on a Moto del Rincon here. Has got stuck in traffic. If this happens, it would really be interesting. That Hong Kong sim racing car, that number 23, has looked like getting its way back up the order all race, but it just never seemed to have happened, as Stephen Bulkhead has gone out, but I assume he'll be allowed to rejoin and get another go in that Alpine there. But I don't know what actually happened to Bulkhead. I'm going to have a go back and look. He's coming out of the pits. Yeah. He came out of the pits and he just stopped. Maybe a driver change issue then. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I've been seeing a couple of them happen. So, yeah. But he has classified as DNF, so I don't think he's coming back. I think once that the time has a DNF or suspension or whatever there, then that's it. I think that's when it's the sign you can't get back in. So I think he's he got a pit penalty, speeding, okay, and then apparently decided to pull off. So some interesting moments going on here for some of the drivers. And I think so. Okay, so I think he kept getting. Okay, I'm just guessing he kept getting pit penalties, and they weren't clearing. So I'm guessing that's what happened. That explains why he stopped straight after the first one. So big moments there. So he's now out. So we're down to 7 P2s now in this field. As seems to be all the P2s having issues at the moment. As Faustina is in again, so he's having to stop once more as we go along. I'm just trying to look. Yep, so Frejek's in the Aston, by the way, so that's a driver change there. That was Palou in that one before, or Jalou, sorry, in that one before, so that's a driver change. and he's now, I think he just passed Mohammed Azkar there in the Porsche through the max spec section. So some interesting moments here as we are now in the darkness, and adds just another layer to the passing for the interclass interactions, I guess.
Yeah, it just really just adds another layer to it. Not only have you got multi-class racing, you've got now night racing in multi-class as well, and that just adds up the challenge again. And if Armin Taruna can just do what he did before, and that's get through the traffic, if he can just do that with no problems, he should be fine for the race win, of course, because this is where that really comes in handy, just being able to get on with the job in hand.
Definitely is. Got a little battle for P16, by the way. Jared Van der Weyde and Caceres in the BMW, sorry, BMW Corvette. Corvette gets the move done, T4 Corvette. So Van der Weyde up to 16th. Now, I'm not sure if he's pitted yet. We know he obviously pitted earlier on with damage, so I'm guessing he hasn't. But we'll soon see as he goes through turn 1, having done that move. Wow, the BMW taking all sorts of curb through turn 1. It's not always advisable around here, especially to take too much curb, because they can bite you very hard indeed, especially with the field sausage curbs that are around here as well. Just watching actually for check-in. And Azkar having a nice battle there, Aston versus Porsche. That's for P14 in class, which is, oh sorry, P14 overall, which is P4 in class. So we've got 26 Brett up in P13, the Aston. I don't think he's stopped yet, so he's out of position at the moment. They've just seen the Aston of going around. Yeah,
that was a big slide.
Oh no! And the Porsche's gone. Azkar's gone in the Porsche. And I think he got caught up behind the Aston there and had to sort of take evasive action, led to him spinning. So he now drops behind Van der Weyde and Caceres as well, so they gain 3 spots, and he's now got MC Din not far off him as well. So they're all very close there in that midfield, pretty much, at the GTs, all very close. But Van der Weyde now up to P5, I believe there's in class. But again, I'm not sure if he's actually stopped yet or not. I'm going to assume, or stopped again, sorry. I'm assuming he hasn't stopped again. But yeah, we'll see how he goes in that comeback, because again, they're trying to come back through after battling the top 5 earlier on until they had the contact with the BMW. So yeah.
Oh, there we go. Elman there on the almost rejoined into Van der Weyde there. That was Mark Elman, who'd had problems and gone round. Yeah, Mark Elman in the Porsche there. Just he'd gone round, he'd gone off, and then spun, and then almost rejoined into Van der Weyde. Just managed to reverse out of the way, and then avoided trouble. But that was a very close rejoin from Mark Elman off the track there. And while Van der Weyde will be feeling like a very, very lucky young man.
Definitely, yeah, as they continue around the circuit at the moment. Oh well, Alexis Clepano is finally in from the lead of class in the BMW. He went a long way, 81 minutes into this race. That's a damn long stint right there. Obviously doing some low boost sort of running, although it's very good pace for low boost running. He was pretty handily holding on to lead in class. That's very impressive stuff from him. But that means they'll probably be good for one stop. I'm going to assume they'll do the driver swap, assuming that the RF2 gods shine on them and let them do it, which is always something you got to kind of just hope for. But Van der Weyde now on for check there in the Aston. And I'll tell you what, Van der Weyde's looking very speedy in that Corvette at the moment. I think the sole Corvette in the field as well, which is interesting to see. Usually I think you see quite a few Corvettes in the Dura-Ace as well, but obviously a lot of fans of the Beamer and the Aston in this field. As Jared will look there down the inside, not quite close enough to make the move. Fritschek's gone a bit deep though, and I think Jared will go around the outside, will he? No, he's not going to do it around the right-hander there. He's going to try the cutback, I'm guessing. Yep, try the cutback, get the exit on the Aston. Might do it. He's looking close. He's got the nose up the inside, so room from the Aston's going to have to be the left. And I think he'll do it. He's broken late enough. I'd say he's going to get done. Still fighting the Aston, but I think Jared's just done it. He has. So he now moves up to P3 in class at the moment. Actually, it's actually P3 in class. Oh, sorry, no, P4. Sorry, as I forgot to. P5, gee, they just keep going, the GTs. There are so many of them out there. But P5 in class at the moment is obviously G Wong is now leading from Rodriguez, but I think they're out of sync a little bit. Pit stop strategy wise. Again, this is all the GTs are also a bit out of sync pits wise. So we've got people pitting at different times, so I'm not quite sure who's going to be stopping when and what the strategy is there. But I'll tell you what, 26 Brett there in that 13th overall placed Aston, he's looking pretty good. I mean, if they're on for one stop, he's 3rd overall effectively at the moment. oh sorry, 4th overall effectively at the moment, which is very good signs. Luis Marino, by the way, in the Beamer, what have you seen?
Yeah, this is a great battle kicking up at the moment. Still, obviously, Brett's having a great job in that Aston Martin at the moment. We've got this brilliant train, though. So I'm still watching Fraser Van der Weide and well, Cesaris further behind. This is what I'm going to coin the 8-cylinder train, because obviously V8 Corvette, V8 Aston Martin, V8 BMW, all different ways of approaching it, of course, but this is a great little train we've got going on. But yeah, as you were saying, Brett in a great position at the moment to get 3rd in class if this continues on as it is at the moment.
Definitely has. He's actually been going along not too bad. They started towards the back of the field in Aston, but he's showing a lot of really good consistency and just been pumping in some solid laps and certainly showing his class at the moment. I did see something before. Oh yeah, that's right. We had a Paul Faustino's talking about apparently they're having issues. Probably explains why Mark Elman's going off so much. Is that apparently they're having issues with the car short shifting, which sounds like, yeah, I'm not quite sure what the go is there, and whether that's maybe a hardware issue of some kind. Maybe he's where he's got for his gears button keeps clicking on him by accident. It's the only thing I think of, because it shouldn't be anything in the game that's doing that without him doing it. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be the case, so I'm not sure. And this is another RF2, another thing to add to the RF2 things list, which has been growing a bit since the DX11 beta, of course. So they've been trying to get that all sorting properly. So yeah, not sure what the go is there. Not heard that one before. Not heard the car short shifting on you when you don't want it to. That's not something I've heard before. So yeah, I don't know. A bit of an interesting one, but that explains why he's struggling so much. Although he looks like he's really struggling. So I don't know. I think he's. I mean, how far off are they now? They're 9 laps now off the lead. They're another lap off the next GT, and they're really crawling around. So I don't know. I mean, if you're struggling that bad, I think there's a point when you've got to maybe just think maybe we should just pull this one over, because I'm just waiting for a crash to happen there, because they are really struggling around at the moment.
Yeah, Taruna in again now. Hopefully the driver swap will work this time. And Fahad Ghafoor, yep, is actually there in the server list. So I imagine that will be the driver swap that did not occur before that will happen now. This might just be a straight swap, actually, because there's not anything going on. Maybe just topping up on fuel and going to go for that. Taruna, though, is going to lose ground to Del Rinchon while this happens. So this is going to give Eduardo a chance to catch up. And, well, let's see how much he can catch up by the time that Fahad gets in that car.
Definitely, and yep, there you go, Fahad in. Oh boy, nearly gets reversed into by the Aston there as the Aston overshot their box. So that was nearly a moment. See, I'm guessing that they'd been trying that whole time now. I think ever since the stop, they were probably trying to get Fahad into the car that entire time, I think. So it took them a while to finally get the game to let them do it, as it's one of those things that I've had as well happen, and it's just seems to be a very arbitrary thing. It seems to be very random whether you get it or not. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that's probably being looked at and hopefully going to be solved very soon. But either way, Ghafoor's in the car now. Now they can go on with their second half of the race, and he can probably pretty much go to the end. If he can stretch the fuel out, he might actually be able to go to the end on one stop. But I think they may just about have enough of a lead, especially if Del Rincon and Trubo are doing what I think they're doing, which is I think they're going to be going full blast in both stints and then pitting that extra time. So if they're doing that, then Ghafoor's probably got the gap to be able to do an extra stop if he needs to possibly top up on fuel, or maybe even do tyres as well if he feels like it. So yeah, they're not in the worst position ever. They've still got the lead by 20 seconds, so they're still leading, but it's just been a bit more complicated for them than they maybe would have liked it to have been.
Yeah, slightly more complex than it would have liked it to be, but Ghafoor in that car now, the number 20, going to try and get away from Eduardo Del Rincon, who's just going to get past Sebastian Rodriguez now, who, of course, is a second in that GT class in that Porsche, and doing a very good job of it. Definitely,
yeah, as they continue around during this race in the night now, of course, in this sort of sped up 24-hour race. If you if you want to class as that, because basically it's a mini 24 hours sped up form, 10 times form, so to speak, 10 times 24 hours. There you go. We coin it there as well. I think that was Luisa Marino nearly have a moment out of the right hander there at the middle of the circuit, but managed to continue on without any dramas. But he's sitting, as I said, P3 in class, but again, I'm not sure what Wong and Rodriguez are doing strategy-wise. So you just get a feeling that Marino might be placed to go to the end of the race at the moment. Whereas I don't know if Rodriguez and Wong can. I know Wong I don't think can, because I'm pretty sure he pitted a fair bit earlier than everybody else. So I think they've got another stop in that BMW. I reckon Rodriguez might have to do a quick one at the end as well, possibly for fuel. So I think effectively Marino might be in the lead, effectively. But as I said, we'll soon get confirmation on that towards the end. Probably in the last sort of 10-15 minutes of the race, we'll start to see the true order of things iron itself out. Good to see that we're still at 24 of the cars, sorry, 24 of the cars still going. 24 or 26 still going, which is really good to see. So only the two retirements, that were the two P2s. So yeah, really good to see that we've got almost all the fields still going. We're over halfway into this race now.
Yeah, very good to see that we still got so much of the field going, and it just goes to show that sometimes consistency can pay, and just getting it to the end can pay. Obviously, Bokid and Chakai, the only real losses from this race so far. Some obviously teams have fallen further behind the order, but yeah, definitely good running from everybody so far to get it this far into the race. Of course, 90 minutes gone, and that means there are 54 left to go.
Indeed, yeah. So we're under an hour to go now in this race to the almost final sort of stretch in a way of this one, and it will be, as we say, a real interesting one to see who is gonna come out on top on this one. As I said, I think Gafor's got, I think they've got it in the bag for the P2s, as I think they've got the strategy advantage and probably the pace advantage to keep that, although Del Rincon has been doing pretty solidly in that car, as it's true, but they've both been doing pretty well. But I think Gafor might have it. I reckon they've got that advantage to keep ahead, but again, we'll see with strategy and if anything happens, because being multi-class, especially during the night, so you never know what's going to happen. As I say, I think Marino's got it in GT. I think effectively he's ahead strategy-wise, but we will see. As I said, it's all going to become clear with about 10-15 to go with who's where and where the strategies are all going to line up, because it's, as always with all these endurance races in these sort of middle phases, you don't really know quite who's where with the strategies, because everyone's doing all sorts of different things, so it's always very hard to sort of pick where effective orders are. But yeah, it's looking alright for a few of them. There's Van der Waals 13th still trying to chase down 26 Brett now, who's been again doing a very solid job there in that Aston, but Van der Waals has been just closing in, chipping away lap after lap, and looking not too bad in the Corvette, although again, I actually don't know where they will be as well. I'll definitely have to do one more stop at least, so they'll drop back again. But then again, I think everyone effectively in GT is probably going to have to do, maybe except for one or two of them, nearly everyone's going to have to do one stop more, I think, in this one. So yeah, it's all very interesting. It will become clear when we get towards the end, as always with these endurance sort of style races anyways, to see Mark Robinson in the Aston as well. So yeah, looking not too bad. I'm just trying to find out, as I just see Chris Payne in the Ferrari as well there. So a few of the GTs doing, I assume, their one and only stop for the race. But yeah, it's been very interesting. I almost, is that, oh, it doesn't update on that view. There you go. I still was on board with Gafor there, and it was saying first gear from what I could see, but it was because the view wasn't showing the gear numbers correctly. I nearly was sitting there going, geez, he's changing up but not changing up gear. I was like, wait, no, it's the view. So there you go. But yeah, it's interesting. It's really cool to see as well. Of course, in the night you can see the front brakes glowing red as well, showing how hard they're pushing these cars.
Yeah, it just goes to show just how hard they're pushing it. You can see the brakes obviously glowing bright red, and well, that means they're working obviously, but it means that they are pushing them very hard. And well, I'm sure with not much left to go in this race, drivers are going to start be thinking of pushing it a little bit harder as the light starts to come back. It isn't yet, obviously, but it will, obviously, in a short while, start to get lighter, and the drivers will be back in the daylight where they can give it the full beans without having to worry about the fact that they can't see the next corner as well as they would otherwise.
Definitely, yeah. So, where is Gafor? He's come around the last half circle, and I might see if Naz is willing to set up a camera shot. There's a few to use for this too, because there's a few different onboard shots you can use, but I was thinking we might go for an onboard lap with Gafor here in the night for the true endurance spectacle. of it in the lead P2. Hopefully Nez can get a nice camera going there, because as I said, I reckon there's about 5 or 6 cameras you can use for the onboard, which look very nice. So it's more of a pick of which one you're after, because there's quite a few on these Inter-Races cars, which is great to see. Great to see all the different camera angles implemented. I always like it when they put a lot of camera angles into the mods for the onboards. So we will give you an onboard with GIF4 here around this Silverstone circuit in the night stints of this race. So I'll leave you guys to enjoy the sounds of the P2 as you come down the last corner now, and I'll rejoin you after this lap.
Yeah, just really at this point of the race, Tom, we start thinking, oh dearie me, Rick Scott's out with an engine problem. I've just noticed that Scott is out. That Hawkeye car is just pulled off to the side there. That is gone from bad to worse for the Hawkeye team. Obviously, problems as soon as Scott got in the car with the problems that they had, and then Rick obviously now having further problems. He was just coming round and cars seemed to just stop. Oh dearie me. Well, that is an interesting one. I am very intrigued as to how that's happened. But Rick Scott and the Hawkeye team looks like they're out of the race, but this time it's terminal.
Yeah, indeed. I did see Rick Scott retire there. I thought we'd have a little bit of on board that before we reported that one, but it's all good. I did see the engine go, so it is a terminal one, unfortunately, for them. The Hawkeye machine. Still get to see the onboard though, just with us talking over, so hopefully you don't mind that. To be fair, the P2's maybe not the most glorious sounding car of the lot, but I just don't mind sounding. They definitely sound prototype-like, I think, to me anyway. But you still get to see the shot anyway. You see what they're sort of seeing at the moment with the visibility in the night. But yeah, Rick Scott, unfortunately out, so that's Hawkeye effectively out of that one. As I said, that once that time has a DNF or engine failure or anything, then that's effectively gone. So now these 6 P2s, all P2s retired. The GTs are all there still, which is interesting to note. So it's been all the casualties in the P2 field down to 6 running now in that field. 23 of the 26 still doing the laps. So it's still an interesting one here, but that's gonna make it quite fascinating. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if it maybe got the double downshift. I know if sometimes by accident, sometimes if you press the downshift, the game will accidentally double downshift you, and you can blow an engine by doing that. There is an option you can set, of course, to delay the gear changes so that doesn't happen, but can happen sometimes. So hopefully that didn't happen to him. But either way, it's Hawkeye out now, and we're down to 6 P2s in this field. I thought I saw someone off at some point. Lights that weren't car lights, but it might be what it was, because it's going to be a bit confusing in the night. Probably the closest battle at the moment that I can see, is Azkar and Saya Din's probably the closest one. That's Porsche v BMW for P16 rules, probably your closest battle on track at the moment.
Well, you say that. There is a P2 battle developing by the looks of it. Audi Devanoka there is not very far behind Kelvin Wong for P5. Now, this is a Lola versus Alpine Orica battle going on here. Obviously, 8 cylinders in the Alpine versus just 4 in the Lola, of course, powered by that Mazda straight 4 engine, turbocharged, of course. But yeah, this could be very interesting to see how this one goes. Audi's not really been present much in this race, been there or thereabouts, but not really had much of a chance to go for a proper top 5 position. So now it's going to be interesting to see whether this battle's going to go anywhere. Yeah,
well, the thing about that though is that Audi's actually a lap behind Kelvin, so he will, if you get the move done, that will put them a lap back on the same lap as Kelvin. They will still be a lap behind, but it would be still interesting to see how that goes, because they do seem noticeably quicker than Kelvin. So you'd think they'll want to get past, but again, Kelvin is the lead car on the lap, so there's no real reason why Kelvin should get out of the way. He doesn't need to get out of the way. There's no rule there saying he has to, so it's sort of going to be all on whether he wants to just get the P2 away from him, so he doesn't have one hogging his behind for the next, for the rest of the race effectively, or what he wants to do there. So we'll keep an eye on that for you, but that could be interesting or exchanged regardless with how that situation goes down. GIF4 still leading, but I'll tell you what, Del Rincon is going pretty quick here, down to 12 seconds. I believe that may have closed a little bit in the last few laps. So Del Rincon is getting a wriggle on here at the moment because he is really been closing in on it before at a pretty nice rate of knots in the last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, so far really been closing in, and that's just what you need to do. Sometimes in the racing, just keep going, keep having a look, keep having a battle, and see how far you can go and get up the places. You know, it's all about capitalizing on other people's mistakes and just running your own race. Really, endurance racing. It's just, you know, you got to get on with your own thing.
Definitely, yeah. As the drivers continue on their merry way at the moment. I'm just trying to see if, by the way, I noticed G Wong pitted in the BMW and came back at it behind Luis Moreno, so I think that's effective once again. So now Rodriguez takes the lead in GT temporarily, but as I said, I think Rodriguez might have to pit once more for a splash and dash. I think that'll change once again. As I said, I think Moreno's got the effective lead once that all irons itself out, but we'll obviously see towards the later end of this one. But yeah, it's all looking not too bad. So everyone is trying to get through the traffic and keep their their nose clean here in this phase as we get towards the end of it.
Of course, it's sometimes the end of an endurance race can be the most difficult. You know, if you've been the only driver in the car, you'll be getting tired. You'll be having just done 2 hours of racing. You'll be thinking, oh, I just want to get at the end, and you might start making mistakes. But concentration might start lapsing, which is why we have driver swaps available to the drivers if they want. You know, you can have basically 2 fresher drivers, and that could be a real advantage sometimes. But sometimes the end of an endurance race is the most difficult bit.
Definitely, yeah. And yeah, it's always a really interesting element to it as well. So we'll see how that all pans out. I'm just looking through. Well, that's interesting. That's not who I thought it was. There we go. Strange game had me on someone who I wasn't looking at apparently. But yeah, Rodriguez hold going nicely in that Porsche. But as I said, looking like as I said, I reckon he's got to pit again. I'm just not quite sure when, because I think they pitted a little bit before halfway. So I'm pretty sure they'll do a splash and dash at some point towards the end of this one. Probably in the next, I'm gonna say next 15-20, I'm gonna guess, but we'll see. If not, then they've done a strategic masterclass to be in later class. But Moreno has actually been closing pretty nicely in the last few laps. I've just seen that they're actually in view of each other down the Hangar Straight. I'll have a look at the times from Rodriguez. Yeah, 5, 6s, he did 7 a few laps ago as well. Let me have a look at what Moreno's been doing. Moreno's been doing, ooh, yeah, 3s. Wow, 3-4, 3-5, 3-4 the last 3 laps. So he's been banging the consistency. So I tell you what, yeah, Moreno is really on a charge. We'll see what lap this is when he crosses the line. Should update in a minute. Once,
it'll be Moreno's 49th that he's starting right now. Rodriguez on the same one, of course. So it's going to be, Porsche versus BMW, the battle for the GT lead.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, I think Rodriguez is going to pit again, but even if not, it just looks like Moreno's got that pace advantage right now. Really pumping the laps in that BMW. It's been very, very strong at the moment. G Wong is obviously just pitted, so we'll get the times on from them very soon, but they are down a bit further now, although they're actually battling with 26 Brett for... No, they're pitting. Oh, pitting again. I swear they just pitted, though. That's interesting. So I wonder if they got a penalty as well. Interesting. If they...
It's definitely plausible. Definitely plausible that's the case. I've just seen, Young Ji-Bong's just come in there. This is actually probably a stop-go penalty. They've missed the pit box. I think this is probably a stop-go penalty, if anything.
Yeah, no movement on the jacks or anything, so yeah. So that's a stop-go for the Beamers. That's a real shame because they're on for probably a top 5. I mean, they might actually still be on for a top 5, to be fair. Looks like they're going off a gap that they're going to come out basically with one of the World of Sim Racing BMs, the Javier Caceres entry. So they're going to come out just ahead. So they might, I think they are still P5 in class. They're still on for a top 5 in class at the moment, but maybe not quite the result they're after there with that stop-go. And that's probably... probably with the pit entry line there, to be fair, isn't terribly visible. It's hard to see because there isn't really any cones to notify you. You just kind of got to do a few runs and kind of get used to where it is, I guess, is probably the only real way to know, because there's no real clear signage telling you where the line is. But that's a bit where I think it's a bit where a bit of caution is handy. You got to be just, I know you want to try and be nice as quick as you can into the pits, but it's going to cost you a stop-go. It can be a lot safer to just take it a little bit easier, just play it safe. You know, maybe you might lose, you know, 3 or 4 seconds in it, but at least you won't get a stop-go. Is the other way to think of it. But as you know, I can understand why it'd be easy to have one there, because as I said, it's not very clear pit entry line there, so it's very easy to go a bit too late, go over the limit, and then you got to stop go. So something else for the drivers to think about here during this race. So look at that Del Rincon, by the way, that's 7 seconds that lead. Wow, he's been chopping away at that. 50s, 51s. What's Gafour been doing? He's been doing 51s, 52s. That's why. No wonder he's been closing. So wow, Del Rincon, he's been. Wow, he's been doing some absolute mighty laps, and that's looking like we might have a nice battle for the overall lead pretty soon.
Yeah, we might have an overall lead battle soon, and well, that could be very interesting. Gafour versus Del Rincon, and well, if you told me half an hour ago that Arwen Taruna, the car that Arwen Taruna is in, would suddenly be battled in a lead battle, I'd have told you that you were lying. But indeed, Fahad Gafour has been caught up by Del Rincon here, who's been in that car since the start, let's not forget. And this could be very interesting now, because that car there, that number 20 car, that is going to be coming under increasing pressure from Del Rincon's number 5. And, well, this could get spicy. So grab your Tabasco sauce.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely get comfortable, because I think we might have a nice battle here for the last, what is now 40 minutes, 39 minutes left in this race, and then we'll obviously be towards the end. And again, it'll be interesting to see when the last lap is, because it's always variable depending, of course, on when they'll be across the line, what the settings are, because it can, be a case of when the time runs out plus a lap, or it can just be when the time runs out. Depends on, I think, what you want to do with that settings wise. I'm not quite sure where that is here, but I'm guessing it'll just be when the time runs out. So yeah, it could be very interesting though. As we'll see what the gap is now. 5.6. What's it down to now? 5.4. So even in traffic, he's gained again. So yeah, I don't know. I reckon we might. I mean, unless Gafour can find some major pace real quick, might have a battle. Though again, I reckon Del Rincon, I would have thought he'd have to pit again, because he pitted. Remember, they pitted about 40 minutes in, so I would have thought they'd have to pit again in that car. So, and I mean, I think even with boost 1, you're struggling to get to 60, 70 minutes, let alone 80 or more. So I don't know, we'll have to see how he plays the strategy wise, but surely they've got to pit again. And whereas I don't know if Gafour has to. So I think the overall grand scheme of things, they might be okay in that lead car at the moment, that number 20 entry. But again, we'll see this at the end on whether they are safe or whether they are actually going to be under overall attack in the last bits of the race.
Yeah, whether Del Rincon's going to get Gafour here quickly enough. I think with this amount of time left, it's going to be at least a battle on. So it should be interesting to see how that goes.
Definitely, yeah. As seeing Scott's actually just typing in the lead chat as well, so we might get some confirmation on what happened there with the Hawkeye entry and what the cause of the issues were for him. Was I just caught Edmund Wong just about spin it there in P4. He's managed to keep going, but nearly turned it around. He's lost time to his teammate Kelvin Wong there in the 2 Hong Kong sim racing machines. They're going to continue on those. Oh, gee, Edmund gets clouted by one of the Porsches there. I'll have to go back on that one. I'm assuming the Porsche lost the rear end. He had to, because it almost looked like he went across on him on that one. I think he lost the rear end. Let me have a look here. Oh, okay, no, okay. So Edmund's actually reacting to the Porsche. I thought it was contact, but there wasn't. Apologies there. Just from the distance, it looked like contact, but it wasn't. It was Porsche got a little bit of a wiggle, and Edmund just went left there to avoid it, and yeah, hugged the left-hand side, which is fair enough. When you see a GT wobble when you're passing it, it's best to just give it a bit more space, just in case anything goes wrong. So good play from both the drivers in the end. Edmund's still going in P4, but he's got Kelvin not far behind. They're a fair way off third, which is Truber, who's been pretty much going along on his lonesome for most of this race, just kind of cruising his own full space. So I think he'll hang about there. They should be on for again though. If they pit as well, again, like I think they should have to, then that could be interesting. We got above the lead. It is on now. I'll tell you what, Del Rincon has absolutely charged. That was 4 seconds about a minute ago, so that's crazy how much quicker Del Rincon's going. And he's going to be up the inside. I reckon he might get the move. No, going to wait. and not make the move just yet. If they are pitting, they wanna get the move done here if they have to pit again, because they want to try and get some clear air and maximise their pace here for the end of the race. So we'll see. But geez, Del Rincon, that's crazy. That was 4 seconds about 4 minutes ago. I reckon he's closed a second a minute. I reckon it has to have been, because that was 4 seconds last time I looked. And there's a car off in the background there. I don't know who that is, but looks like a GT of some description. As here comes Del Rincon down the hanger straight up the inside. Doesn't look like Gafour's going to find him too much. I think Gafour knows this is a battle he won't be able to win, although he's trying to hold around the outside. Oh, well done from Gafour actually there. He used the GT to his advantage, and was able to sort of balk Del Rincon there with the GT. So good, smart play from Gafour. So he's holding on, but I don't know. Del Rincon, just that gap has come down way too fast for him to not get the move done soon, surely.
Yeah, Eduardo just chasing down, and he's got to get the move done surely. He seems that much quicker at the moment. It's 0.716 as they go over the line. They got GT traffic ahead, which I'm sure Fahad will have to deal with in a sensible manner. In fact, Cesaris Buckyville. Oh, dearie me, that's a tight squeeze, and that's going to allow Rincon right through into the realms of Gafour here. Just going to try and get past the GT traffic as well as possible. Oh no, it's gone disastrously wrong.
Oh,
that is not good for Gafour.
No, and that was with the World Sim Racing BMW as well. That's one of their other team cars in the other class, which is even more interesting. So, oh no, that's awkward. Yeah, so it looks like Gafour's got the curb. He's kind of come across on the BMW a little bit there, and the BMW is pretty much on their line, although they are kind of moving right. It's a bit of a, again, it's one of those clashing alliance scenarios, but from what I can see in the replay here, they both just kind of came together there with their lines clashing into each other, and then that's left Gafour to go around. He's lost a whole bunch of time and then bounced over the sausage curve for good measure as well. That's dropped him a good chunk behind Del Rincon. That could be crucial in the battle for the lead, because that could give Del Rincon it. And boy, wouldn't that be quite a dramatic way to take a win in this race. As I noticed, Truba's in, as is Edmund Wong, so they're in for their final stops of the race. So that could have been decisive, and if that's a decisive moment, that could be an interesting one after the race.
It could be very interesting now. I mean, Fahad Gafour's going to try and get back ahead after that incident there. Del Rincon on course to win this then for World of Sim Racing. And, well, wonder me if that was the decisive moment. Del Rincon in, though. So here comes Gafour. This is going to be interesting to see how close they are at the exit.
Yeah, indeed. It's all going to be on how quick that stop is, as Truba's back out again. As I said, Truba's basically been going along, and he's on his lonesome. It's been a very lonely, very lonely little race for him. He's been sitting around in about third, fourth for quite a while now, and he's just kind of been gapping either side of him there. So yeah, a very interesting moment, as I said there, in the battle for the lead. I think it was maybe a little bit one of those things. Really, it looked like both lines kind of came together, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's one of those hard things. I mean, room could have been, I guess you could say, could have been left by either party. It's one of those racing things, I think, especially in the night with multi-class. Those sort of things happen.
I think I've just seen an incident there for Fahad Gafour. Obviously, going back into the lead, I think he just tagged Frashek there. Something happened with Frashek, and yep, round goes the Aston. Yeah,
let me have a look here. Oh, yeah. Oh, gee, that's... If there was a tag, there was a little lag at my end, although, again, I wasn't actually watching Gafour, so that can happen. But, yeah, wow, that's a bit of a case as well of... that's an awkward one, although... Interesting, yeah, both cars, I think neither of them knew what was going on. It's like neither of them knew what the other was doing, and then they ended up having a very awkward little exchange there. So again, this is the thing with this multi-class stuff. It can be very, very tricky to know when to pass or how to pass, or, do I leave the room here? What do I do line-wise? It can be really, really tricky to get it right, and it's so easy to have those incidents like that. So a real shame for the Aston never had that incident there. As Truba's in again. Ooh, I wonder if we got another stop-go penalty here. I reckon we might. Gee, that's another one. A lot of guys getting caught out by the pin entry line here. As I said, granted, it is a hard one to see. It's not much signage, but you guys getting caught out. And yeah, it looks like stop go to me.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like a stop go for that World of Sim Racing car. And, well, obviously the 5 and the 31, 2 and 3 at the moment in this race. Edmund Wong will catch up, though. Truba, though, leaves the pits, having served the penalty. Fahad Gafour obviously leading this race now by a comfortable margin. 44 seconds is the gap now. So, that pit stop from Del Rincon has not helped anything.
Definitely, yeah. So Truba, though, has enough of a gap that he should be fine still. I think he'll be on for third. As long as he doesn't have a spin or anything, he should be safe in third. But again, it's been a very, as I said, been quite a lonesome race for him. He's basically just been chilling in, his own little area for most of it. Excuse me, which is, oh, gee, I'm getting all sorts of burpee off water, which is always a fun time. But
oh, lovely.
But yeah, he's still going on third on for a good result. The Wong duo for Hong Kong Sim Racing, Edmund Wong and Kelvin Wong, 4th and 5th, and then we got Audrey there in P6, the number 16 entry, and then Chris Osley in 7th has managed to get going again in that P2, or they managed, sorry, to get going in that P2 entry, and they've managed to get back up into the position of the P2s. They're out of the GTs now. Rodriguez still leading. I've just noticed as well, Luis Marino is actually caught up to Rodriguez. There's another little battle that's been developing over the last few laps, so whether Rodriguez has to pit again or not, looks like Marino might just pass him on track anyway and just go, well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to pass you regardless. So that may get decided as well. But Kelvin Wong in as well for what I'd say is his final stop of the race, unless he had a stop-go again, which always possible from what we're seeing here with that pit entry line being so elusive. And actually, yeah, it looks like I'm not seeing the car going up, so I reckon we've got another stop-go there. That pit entry line is catching everybody out here at the moment, and I guess especially in the night, it's so much harder to see once again. Well, actually, no, it's on the jacks. Sorry, no, there's an actual pit stop. I saw the jacks go up, so it's his final actual pit stop for him, and he should be safe in P5, but looks we've gone off a gap. He should pop back out. Oh, as I just saw Edmund Wong go off from P4.
Oh dear, that's an off. Yeah, that is an off for the Hong Kong Sim Racing car. The number 1, of course. Yeah, that was an off. That was a big one.
Yeah, it's one of those. Oh, it's a shame that happens. One of those moments. He's had a slide, tried to catch it, and then it's just overcorrected and just gone flinging away. It's so easy to do that when you go to correct a mistake like that. It'll just suddenly grip on you, and then that's it. You're just gone. So very easy to do, and I know I've done it a number of times as well. So it's not a not a easy mistake to see happen. It can be so easy to do, especially in these P2s, which if you've driven them, you know how slidey they can be and how easy it is to get the tail to go out on you, and it can be a case of just with a snap oversteer that can really ruin your race. But thankfully he's still going, but I can't imagine those tyres are going to be too much fun for the last, was it going to be about the last 28 minutes of this race, but I'm sure he'll try and soldier on. Oh gee, nearly had contact with the BMW there trying to get past. That was a very close moment through the stadium section. So we're getting some interesting moments with this inter-traffic stuff that goes on. It can really define a race, and you think it's not, you just think, oh, you just pass them, it's not hard, but it's the speed difference and the closing speeds, it makes it a really challenging thing. As I just have caught up to a lovely battle here, well, two actually lovely battles in GT. We've got the battle for the GT lead, which I think we probably should focus on because it's the GT lead, but we've got another really good battle for P4 and GT, which is quite close as well. I think we'll focus on the GT lead because that's where obviously for the lead of the GTs is Rodriguez and Marino. And you'd think Marino should have this done, as I said, because he's been closing on Rodriguez lap after lap in that BMW. And I think, as I say, I reckon Rodriguez is going to have to do a splash and dash before the end. That's my sneaky suspicion. But if not, well, it doesn't look like it matters anyway, because Marino is just going to pass him legitimately regardless. So it won't matter whether he pits or not. So we'll see. Obviously, we've got a Porsche off there in the background. But yeah, as I said, it's one thing to catch someone, it's another thing to pass someone. So we'll see how Marino goes. He's got a lovely run through here, and they've got a lap car ahead of him. I think that's 26 Brett in the way. Yes, and thank you, Arwen, there for the kudos there for the broadcast. It is fantastic seeing DX11 as well. I've only got DX9, so I can't actually see the sort of gorgeousness that I'm sure the broadcast is showered in at the moment. But in DX9, this would look utterly gorgeous. So yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Looks very nice because that's what we're trying to do, aren't we? Just put a nice show here for this first round.
Yeah, it's always good to have a nice little show in DX11 as well, and really just makes the racing look all that much better. And it has been some fantastic racing here at RF2 Asia Series, and well, been a great way to start the season off, I feel, with a nice, lovely 2.4-hour endurance race that's been full of drama.
Definitely, yeah, we've had all sorts of the pit stop penalties. As well, I just watched one of the BMs go off. That's Amsay Din again. I think it's the second time I've seen them go off. That's the last corner there. I was battling with one of the other Beamers, the G Wong entry. He's got going again, but he has lost 2 spots in that very tight midfield sort of battle, or lower top 5 battle in the GTs. They've all been very close for quite some time. G Wong's just been closed in on a little bit by Jared van der Weyde, who's been as I said, been recovering ever since earlier on when they had that contact with that BMW they're catching now. So this could be interesting to see how they interact with each other after that little do with those two, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Again, though, credit to 26 Brett. They're on for third in class at the moment, and they've come, as I said, he's come from. They started, I'm pretty sure, towards the back of GT, and he's on for a podium at the moment. He's just been cruising along, not doing, you know, outlandish pace, not doing anything crazy, just being real solid, out of trouble, doing a good strategy, and here they are on the podium at the moment. So it just shows how key it is to just keep your nose clean in these races, because you don't have to be the quickest. As long as you're consistent, do decent laps, and keep your nose clean, you can get a long way in these endurance-style races.
You can. You've really just got to, you know, it's all about patience and timing. As I'm just seeing the light is starting to come back here at Silverstone. It's starting to get a little bit lighter, so we're going to have a nice light last 20 minutes of this race, sort of last blast for the drivers. And they'll be able to see where they're going a little bit clearer. And, well, I'm looking at the gap now. It doesn't look like Del Rincon's going to catch Gafour quickly enough. They did chase for the lead for a while, and they gave them a good shot, but I think the win is going to go, indeed, to that number 20.
There you go, yeah, I think you might be onto something there. I think Gafour has probably got it, unless he has a spin or has to pit again, which, as I said, I don't think they'll have to, because I remember they pitted at about, I think it was about 88 or so minutes gone, so over halfway. They should be fine on the strategy to get the end. So I think Gafour, you're right, I think he does have it, despite the little moment they had earlier on. I think he should still have this one in the bag. Excuse me, so credit, again, a bit of a showing of that 20 entry strength that they weren't able to do the strategy they wanted. They had to sort of adjust their strategy a bit for the issues they were having with the driver swap. They still managed to get Gafour in the car, had a moment with the GT, and they're still leading by 42 seconds. So it just shows, again, as we said, how key that strategy is, that if you get the strategy right, you can still have problems and still come out on top, and that's sort of been the case for those guys. I mean, Del Rincon, though, on for, at the moment, a solid P2. He's still flying along, doing what he can, but as it's unless Gafour has a spin or something, I think he'll probably have to settle for P2. Truba, as I said, Truba, again, I mentioned it before, he's been on his own there in P3 for quite a while, and that's still the case. He's got, what's that, about a minute up to Del Rincon. He's got about probably 30 seconds thereabouts back to Edmund Wong, so he's just going to be bringing it home to bring up the podium. The Edmund Wong 4th, Calvin Wong 5th, and that rounds out your top 5s. I just saw Chris Payne apologising for something. I'm just curious to know what that was. I just saw JK in the Aston, one of the Astons go flying into the wall. That's the no number at my end. I can't see what number it is because the skin's not working, so thank you, Shared Skins, for that. Let me have a look. He just lost it. Ah, that's why, right. So that's why, I'm guessing that's why Chris Payne's apologised. Not really his fault. Looks to me like JK just kind of spun his own. But yeah, that's an interesting little moment. I was actually trying to find Chris, because I'm really curious if he is apologising for something else, because it'd be interesting to see if there's a incident. Oh, there was. Oh, hello. Oh, yeah, that's a bit important, actually. So let's have a look. He's spun on his own. Double left-hander. Oh, gee. And then he's gone straight into, I believe, started moving a little bit and gone straight into G Wong, and that's caused them to spin and lose position to Jared van der Weyde. So van der Weyde has managed to get past thanks to avoiding the incident. So there you go. So Jared van der Weyde now moves up to what is P345 in class, and also Marino has made the move on Rodriguez, which we knew was coming. Marino just so far is doing such great laps in that BMW, really showing his pace here, and has managed to make a move on Rodriguez. So as I said, I think he still has to do a splash and dash, but even if he doesn't, Marino has still managed to get that move done and put that MSI BMW back in the GT.
Yeah, that was an interesting one with Chris Payne there. Obviously, he just lost it on his own coming into the corner there. He just went round and then, just lost it. And then I think, he was spinning and then just, went forward that a little bit and contact with G Wong there. Maybe Payne could have locked his brakes up and just stayed stationary until all the traffic had gone by. I don't know, but it's an easy mistake to make. And, Payne obviously down in 22nd. Doesn't look like young G Wong has taken too much damage from that, luckily. So come off pretty much scot-free here. So that is good to see.
Yeah, so pretty much the only major thing. If he hasn't got any major damage, then the only thing he's really lost is position to Van der Weyde. And he's still, is still there. He's only got probably about 3 or 4, probably 2 or 3 seconds behind Jared, so he might be able to get it back. I mean, that's just going to be more motivation as 26 Brett pits now for, is he the guy that started? That won't be his first. Surely he can push 2 hours with fuel. Maybe he can. I've never seen that GT, but if it isn't, that's his second stop and would be his final stop. So this could be interesting. He's got a fair old gap back to Caceres to hold on. He's back out again. There he goes. 26 Brett is confirmed then on for a podium in that Aston, which for me has got to be one of the performances of the race right there, to come from a fair way back on the grid up to third in class. That's a truly amazing performance, and he's actually coming out behind another Aston there. He's a bit slow out of pit lane, so having to wait a bit there, but managed to get out, and he's got a nice gap back to Caceres, so it's going to be a case of bringing it home for him to be on the podium. As I'm seeing Azka and AMC Dean having a nice battle there for P14 overall. But yes, I was going to say with Chris, yeah, it's always easy to, in that scenario, to for knowing, or almost for knowing where do you go, especially where he was. He was in the middle of the track, and I mean, you don't want to, at that point, when you're right where he was, it's so difficult to know where to go, isn't it? Especially with that corner, because a lot of the time you can take a bit of a wider line to hit the double apex. You know, you sit there and you go, do I stop? Do I go? Brake? You don't know if anyone's coming. You're sitting there going, it can be, as you say, it can be really a very, very difficult scenario. So I certainly don't envy Chris at all for having to be in that scenario in a mention. So yeah, definitely not an easy one. But what we can say for Chris is a big thank you to Chris Payne and Freshek Jacob Freshek for organising this series as well. We'll say it at the end as well. But I wanted to say it now real quick while we've got this little moment before we get into the meat of the race, so to speak, and also of course to all donors and participants as well, making this race possible. 26 cars, great to see for this first round of the series. Again, I'll mention at the end of the broadcast, but I just want to mention it now before we get into the big juicy finale of this one. So big thanks to all those guys who made it possible, and also for everyone participating. It has been a awesome show, hasn't it, Josh? I mean, we've been doing a bit for the broadcast, but I think even without it, it's just been really exciting, hasn't it? We've seen plenty of action, plenty of dramas and everything, and all the joys of racing here.
Yeah, it really has been a great race here at RF2 Asia Series. I've been very impressed by a lot of the drivers and their abilities and their ability to just race. And the amount of close racing we've had, I've been very impressed by that. I came in obviously to this broadcast and thought this is going to be good, nice 2.4-hour race, and I was not disappointed. This has been a fantastic race, and I'm really looking forward to commentating on the rest of the season as well, alongside you, Tom.
Yeah, no, it should be absolutely fantastic and a lot of fun to do indeed. And looking forward to it as well. As just looking at Marino just continuing to lead there ahead of Rodriguez, and 26 Brett further back. They're all still going in formation. G-Wong still trying to chase down Van der Wey, but the gap's pretty much stable. They've both been trading times from, I can tell, Chris Osley in, by the way, in P7 overall, and the P2s there for his final stop, obviously a splash and dash at the end. But we now have 18 minutes to go in this race. We've got probably about something like 9 or probably 10, 11 laps thereabouts to go. So we're in the last little portion now. As I'm actually seeing Calvin Wong and Evan Wong are still pretty close there in P4-5, so we've got a nice little team battle potentially towards the end. It's probably the one that's closest on track right now. Of the battles, like Robinson and JK 18th, 19th. Are relatively close, but I think that one might be one to watch. As Gafour still going on in the lead, 39 seconds. The gap's not coming down as much as before. If anything, maybe Del Rincon's has been sort of easing off and just bringing it home. When he saw the gap, thought, you know what, better to just bring it home safely rather than doing anything too risky. It's probably just settling for a second there. As I said, Ford Trouba still his third spot there in that lovely acre of land he seems to have carved for himself throughout this race. And then we've got obviously Evan Wong and Calvin Wong possibly having a good little battle for fourth, and Audi there in sixth in the number 16 entry, and then obviously Chris Osley rounds at your P2 field. So yeah, it's looking like an interesting little finale we have to look forward to. Here, as I said, we've got a few little battles outside the lead, which could spice up nicely. I think the leaders in both classes are pretty much settled, but we could have some nice battles further down the field.
Yeah, it really is, nice battles going on here, as there have been for the entirety of the 2 hours we've had. Obviously, 8 minutes gone into the final portion of this race now. Just about I think 14 minutes to go now. It's just, it has come on so much. It's really flown by, this race. And, well, it's at this point, really, I start thinking about which teams have really impressed us the most.
Yeah, well, I think, obviously, for me, the 20 entry just have been so dominant out in the P2 lead. You know, just really showing how it's done. You know, even when you have issues, especially, you know, with the driver swap issue, having to adjust their strategy as well to suit that and still managing to make it work so well. You know, I think that's a real sign of the strength they have. And again, a big kudos to Dale Rincon as well for putting up the fight he has. You know, he's been pushing really hard, doing some really impressive times throughout this race, but obviously just not quite had the strategy that the leaders have had, but still been an impressive run regardless. And I think, to me, the GTs, probably obviously, again, the MSI Beamer team there, they've been really impressive throughout the race, really just very consistent. You know, done a great strategy and just very consistent in my eye. Again, 26 Brett's probably one of my drivers of the race. Probably maybe almost go as far as to say driver of the race for me, from starting with further back in the GT field, and he's on for a podium here after having a nice consistent run. You know, really impressive stuff from him. Other than that, yeah, probably I reckon Jared Vanderway deserves a mention as well. He's fought back up in that Corvette to be P5, possibly P4 in class. He's caught up to Caceres now in the Beam and W, and he's actually got G Wong not far behind as well. So this is for P4 in GTs. Vanderway will probably get now as Caceres goes wide there on the right hander. I think that is, yep, Jared through into P4 in class. The Corvette makes back another spot, and he's pretty much back to where he was before he had that little bit of contact with the Beamers. Oh boy, Caceres there, nearly getting a bit of contact from G Wong there in the other BMW. Oh, Caceres is lying all sorts of all over the shot at the moment. He's gone wide again. Oh no, and come back on, and big contact with Audi there, the P2.
Oh
dear. Yeah, I think I'll just go back, but I think he's had a moment. His line was all sorts of compromised as he went through the Maggots Beckett section of the course, and I think he just has not seen the P2. I don't know if I think he just hasn't seen Audi coming up behind him, and yeah, it's been a big contact there. It's a real shame for those two. Audi's had a few moments in that P2, so it's a real shame to have another one in that Lola. And yeah, that's just one of just the GT. They're not quite seeing the car coming, and yeah, as I said, with the speed difference in these cars, they really are big contacts when they're like that.
Yeah, big hit there, and well, that wasn't really fantastic, but still, I imagine that Audi will just, obviously with the 2 lap gap to obviously behind, Audi should be able to go into the pits and get that damage repaired and come out, not really losing any position, but they're going to lose time to Wong, who was a lap ahead anyway, so it doesn't really matter as much in this race, but still not great, I guess. But, you know, with these 13 minutes to go, I can't really look past Eduardo Del Rincon for being one of the drivers of the race. He's just always been there, challenged for the lead at points, has cut the gap down again in these last few minutes, but ultimately not going to quite get the win, but still definitely up there with drivers of the race. Oh, dearie me, what's happened?
Yeah, BMW and spun out of the stadium section. There was a bit of argy-bargy with one of the Porsches. There was a bit of an interesting exchange. Again, I think maybe a bit of fatigue probably setting in here with some of the drivers, because I'm seeing some little errors here and there in some of the battles, so I think a bit of fatigue setting in as well. But a bit of a moment there, thankfully, where they spun, there was only one car coming, and that was car managed to avoid any contact, so it worked out okay in the end. But yeah, a bit of a moment again with that contact with the BMW earlier with the Lola. Again, that's where something like relative time is really useful, because then, unlike in the game's default stuff where you can't really see if there's like any car that isn't immediately near your position coming, relative time actually shows you, anyone who's near you. So whether they're 10 laps ahead of you or on the same lap as you or wherever, it'll tell you how close they are. So that's where relative time can be really useful, because then you can have a little off and go, I've got a P2, 1 second behind in closing. Maybe they're going to be might need to delay coming back on just in case. So it's where something like relative time can be really useful. Again, which I hope, and I think from what I understand, RF2 might be possibly working on. Possibly. I hope they are. I really hope they're working on something like relative time, a bit akin to iRacing, which has all the relatives near you, because it could be so useful in these endurance races. It could be so helpful to have that as a default thing in the game. So wink wink S397 to add to the roster. But yeah, either way, it's definitely been a really entertaining race, as we're now in just about to tick over 10 minutes to go. So we're nearly into the final 10 minutes of this race, as it's looking like Gafour still being closed by Del Rincon. He's still trying to charge up. I don't think he's going to have enough time to do it, but he's still going for it. But yeah, as you say, it has been really impressive from Del Rincon. He's been showing some really good pace in the challenge for the lead, but it's just ultimately been the strategy. It just hasn't quite been as good as that number 20 entry.
Yeah, obviously there has been, things, that number 20, the Fahad, the Gafour-driven car, pretty much has been at the forefront of this race for all of it, barring a few moments, of course. But, yeah, of course, I went to Rima driving it first, and now Gafour just being the dominant force, although Rincon is really cutting the gap down here. Gafour's last 3 laps were 152.9, 152.8, 154.3. And Del Rincon's were 150, 150, 152. He's cutting down 3 or 4 seconds a lap here. And with 10 minutes to go, I would not put it past Del Rincon to get close to the win, if not get it by the end of this race.
We'll see. We'll see. It's definitely not out of the realms of possibility. I just saw Azka get past Caceres as well. Caceres is really struggling. He's dropping back a long way in that car. I'm guessing he's having some issues with the tyres because he's just a bit all over the joint at the moment. Probably maybe a bit rattled as well. Well, actually, can't think of it. I should say it's probably potentially damaged from that contact with the P2. I didn't think he had any damage, but maybe he does. It would explain why he's struggling all of a sudden so much in that Beamer. I'll have a look. I'm not seeing the steering. It doesn't look like it's bent, so yeah, it looks like it's tracking okay, but maybe just a bit rattled as well from that moment with the P2. He does seem to be struggling a lot. And if anything, I have to watch out for Amsaidin behind coming up to get him as well. So I may have to just watch out a little bit because that could be a battle there as well. And you're right, yeah, Del Rincon is really closing at the moment, as I think. I'm just checking. Yeah, Gafour's also just had a little moment there with one of the Astons trying to lap him. I'm not quite sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, there's a spin. Gafour, yes, spun from the lead. So I'll tell you what.
Oh, no.
I think Del Rincon might well get this because I reckon there's got to be damage. That was a pretty hefty hit in the barriers with one of the Astons on. Oh, it's a bit where it's one of those things on it. Oh, gee, I'd hate to say it, but the 20 entry may have shot itself in the foot a bit there. That was a moment. It's one of those things. You just got to be a little bit more patient. I think he tried to go around the outside of the Aston there, and it just isn't going to happen. You just wait. You just got to wait a little bit longer, wait to the straight, and then go for it. It's better to be safe, lose maybe a second or two, but not have an incident like that. And again, I'm saying this, it's not easy at all. And again, not blaming any drivers here, but it's just one of those things with these multi-class races that is so important. But it's so tricky to get it right with lapping cars and all that kind of thing with the speed difference. It just adds such an extra difficult element to racing, which has already got enough elements to it as it is.
I'll tell you this: 136 minutes of racing, and it's come down to this. I would not have telegraphed that at the start of this race. This is why endurance racing is good. You never know what's going to happen.
Indeed, and I think I was trying to see the steering's tracking on that car. I think Gafour might have a slight bit of. Yeah, I think it's definitely bent to the right. That looks to me like it's not much, but I think it's just slightly bent to the right-hand side, that car, the steering. Have a look at the input to left. Yeah, I think it is for sure, definitely. I reckon a little bit is damage to the right-hand side, so that's drifting not quite right. Let me have a look here down the straight. Oh, yeah, I think it's slightly bent steering. Yeah, for sure. So there you go. So there is definitely some damage to that car that's causing some steering woes for Gafour, so it's going to drop his pace off even more. And I'll tell you what, if Del Rincon didn't have enough motivation before, he's got enough now. Just seen that gap ahead of him plummet, and I'm sure that they're well aware that something's going on in that car. So this is their chance to possibly take the win here. We're going to have 6 minutes. 6 minutes to go. Oh, it's still. I don't know if it's going to be enough because he's got to gain 2 seconds a minute effectively to get it. So it's still not necessarily theirs, but yeah, it's going to be uber close for this win in the closing minutes, and as we all eyes on this, going to have a lovely big duel here to finish it off. Rodriguez still going in the Porsche, by the way, so obviously they've proved me wrong. They're actually going to go to the end by the looks of it, so they're fine for P2 in class. They're actually, those two are pretty much a lap ahead of 26 Brett, so those two have been dominating the GT field. There's got a battle between Caceres and Frischek as well. Van der Weid's involved in that too. I think he must have had an incident himself because he was for the field, so they've had all sorts of incidents as Caceres goes off, so it's all all kicking off a bit in the last 10 minutes of this race.
Yeah, really all kicking off. I mean, 10 seconds between Gafu and Del Rincon now, and just 6 minutes left to go in the race time. And, well, that means, of course, that if you do the maths, he's got to gain about 1 and a bit seconds a minute, has Del Rincon. But with the laps that Gafu has been putting in, that last one was obviously a 1:52.7, and Del Rincon's just crossing the line now to do a 1:50.2. He's gaining 2 seconds a lap. I'd imagine that's about 1.3 seconds a minute. He might be on for this.
9.5.
But it's going to be touch and go. It is going to be touch and go.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be very close. And again, it's this sort of thing here with traffic. It all Aussies. Again, that's, and then this is where the moment happened for. But he. Again, he's so risky doing it there. But again, it is the last 5 minutes, and you are battling for the win, so I can understand. But yeah, that's, and you see lost time there because this is the thing with traffic, is that it can ebb and flow so much. So yeah, it was one of those things. Again, he tried. It was interesting. Yeah, again, that's the bit where you know that the GT's in your way on the exit of the corner, so you line it up to get the exit, and you shoot underneath him before the left-hand kink. That's where it's a bit. It's all so tactical when you're trying to pass other classes, trying to pick the best way to do it, what lines to take. It's all